gathered. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night, got this. We've had a million nights just like this.
אוקיי, אז אנחנו שמחים מאוד מאוד להתחיל להזמין את הרוכבים להגיע בבקשה לאזור הגזיבו הכחול, משם אתם תקבלו את האות לעלות זוג אל עמדת הזינוק יחד עם השופטים שיזניקו אתכם, והזוג הראשון כמובן המנצחים בקטגוריית המאסטרס בתחרות הקודמת שהייתה לפני שנתיים, הלוא הם חיים דהן ואנג'לו דיברולי, הם הזוג הראשון שיזנק ויפתח את תחרות bara אפיק ישראל 2021 יחד עם הקרן הקיימת לישראל כאן במועצה האזורית מטה אשר. ומי שעדיין לא הספיק לטעום את השייקים המדהימים, הטעימים, אלה שישנו לכם את החיים, השייקים של גליל, מוזמן להגיע אל הדוכן שלהם. אני מבטיח לכם, זה אחד הדברים הכי טעימים שאני שתיתי, ואתם יכולים לקחת את ההמלצה שלי. יש להם דברים מטורפים, שייקים וקומבינות ממש נפלאות שם, רק שתשתו לבריאות. מזכיר לכם לחבוש כובעים, לשתות מים, אל תתנו למזג האוויר קצת לבלבל אתכם. אנחנו הולכים ומתקרבים כרגע 6 דקות לזינוק הראשון. אנג'לו דיברולי וחיים דהן, רוכבי המאסטרס, מספרים 301, צוות 301, אחריהם יעלו ויגיעו לעמדת הזינוק נועם שילר ודוד רסניק, צוות מספר 302, דביר אלמוג ואהוד אביטבול יהיו שם בצוות 303. הבאים בתור דן זיגמונד ויובל רוזנצוויג, שמות גדולים, שמות של רוכבים ותיקים מקטגוריית המאסטרס, כאשר בשעה 3:54 אנחנו נעלה לקו הזינוק את רוכבי ה-UCI. קחו את זה לתשומת לבכם בהכנות שלכם לקראת ההגעה אל הזינוק. אז עוד קצת מוזיקה ואנחנו בעוד כ5 דקות נצא לדרך.
Don't come out, don't stop caring about me now. Walk away, you know how. Don't stop caring about me now. Aren't you the guy who tried to hurt me with the word goodbye? Though it took some time to survive you, I'm better on the other side. I'm all good already, so moved on, it's scary. I'm not where you left me at all. So, if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out, don't stop caring about me now. Walk away, you know how. Don't stop caring about me now. I'm not where you left me at all. So, if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out, don't stop caring about me now, walk away.
אז כן, השעון מתקדם לו ואנחנו כבר בטווח של 2 דקות וחצי לזינוק. שופטות התחרות, יחד איתה נמצאת שם בתיה שטיינברג כמובן, הן הולכות לקו הזינוק. בתיה תהיה זאת שתזניק כאן בשריקה כל פעם את הזוג שיגיע ויעלה. הזוג הראשון, אנג'לו דיברולי וחיים דהן, כבר מוזמנים להתקרב.
Good afternoon, everyone, here at the Bara Epic Israel, the 8th edition of the Epic Israel. We're just about to start. Here is Ori Turbiner. With me is Elliot Sherman, a former winner of this race in the Masters category. Great to have you here, Elliot.
Thanks, Ori. That was a long time ago, but now I'm with you. I think this is much easier being with you. We've got two former Israeli champions on the start line, Angelo and Chaim. They are really the top riders, 40-year-old riders in the country, and they're going to give a show.
Well, they are the winners of the two previous editions in 2019 and 2018. They're both coming in stellar form. They just had some good international results, didn't they?
That's right. They've just come back from the World's Marathons. Angelo's just finished in the 45 category in the 12th place, and Chaim had finished in 14th in the 50-year-old category.
Wow, that is really, really impressive. They're just about to hit the start line. You can see the tension in their face here. You can't see it on your TV screen, but you can see that they are tense. They are ready. They're going to try that. No, they're going to try to stay ahead and finish first as well. They don't want anyone to catch them.
I mean, this is great respect for them to start off the whole race, but it means also a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. They're going to have everybody chasing them. You can feel the electric in the air, can't you, Ori?
I absolutely can feel it. You have here lots of children coming from the school around here. The atmosphere here is great, and they are making lots of noise.
I've been waiting, the riders here have been waiting for almost 2 years to start again. Last year was cancelled, and here we go.
Off they go. Chaim first, Angelo is following him, and they're sprinting just out of the ramp.
Now, Chaim told me earlier that they're going full gas. They're not going to save anything for tomorrow.
It certainly looks like this, and now we have already the next riders on the ramp. Noam Schiller and David Resnick, another very strong duo here on this race.
Now, Noam used to be the partner of Angelo. Many years ago when I raced, they were racing together.
And they go. They look a little more calm off the ramp.
Noam is a very big rider. He's a big volume, high watt rider.
I guess he will be the leader for most of today's stage. It's pretty flat today. We're going into the city of Acre. You can see Dvir Almog and Ehud Abitbul are now about to start.
Now Dvir comes from mainly the road. He's got a great volume in his lungs, and he can do the distance.
The riders now are the leaders, or at least expected leaders, for the Masters category throughout this race. Now we have another very strong duo, Dan Zygmunt and Yuval Rosenzweig. You can see there, Dan is 49 and Yuval is 46.
They're also coming from the top of the amateur scene in Israel. These are lifetime athletes, and I would imagine they'll be training for at least 5 times a week to come here.
Absolutely.
I like their bikes. What color?
Here we can see the images from our electric bike riding behind Angelo and Chaim Dahan. We'll get some more images of that later on this race. Now we can see Sharon Pe'er and Niv Zohar are about to start.
Now they come from the cycling team that Gal Zachor, our organizer, runs, and they're very well known in the country here.
Now I want to talk to you about the next duo coming up. It's about to be Yuval Friedman and Noam Strashnov. They're two very strong riders.
These are also lifetime athletes, and they've ridden since they're in the 20s in the elite group. They'd always have to ride with it against the elite pro riders, and for the first year they're in the 40s.
Absolutely, and it will be interesting to see how they go in the 40s. They're used to the elite racing. Now we can see Angelo and Chaim going over the bridge. And Yuval and Noam are on the way. They both did several APSA Cape epics as well.
I think they've done everything.
Yeah, and they did this epic many, many times.
As we can see the bridge in the fields, the agriculture fields, it's quite soon from the start, and it's going to mean the heart rate's going to go straight up as soon as they hit it.
And you can see this area is an area that riders go back and forth. Now Angelo and Chaim have the privilege of riding in the middle of the road. They won't have that privilege later when they'll have riders coming in front of them, so they'll have to stay alert.
Also, they get a clean ride without the dust and without the interference of other riders.
I did see that the helicopter brought them some dust over there. but they do get a clean ride right now.
Here we go, another couple of masters, and they're wearing pink, which I like.
The second duo riding with pink today.
You can see on the front couple, Angelo is leading. Chaim looks like he's struggling to open up his motor. I mean, he's hanging on, I think, at the moment.
You can see the beautiful Mediterranean Sea on their right. I'm not sure they can see it.
Right, they just turned left and they're going to go down south with the wind on their backs. Here's that little rise above the agricultural fields for the tractors and the train to go under.
We can see riders still going up that start ramp. Most of the riders today will start in a difference of half a minute between each other, except for the elite riders. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that last 10 duos will start with a minute difference, but the rest have 30 seconds in between them. And I believe you can see many duos catching each other. Do you think it can affect the race today?
It certainly can affect the dynamic of the race. I mean, you're not supposed to ride as a group. It's supposed to be just as you cut your own couple. But when you get out there, you find friends, and some people can help you pull along a bit. It's always a good talking point after the race. What's happened?
Absolutely. We can see there's a little gap there between Angelo and Chaim. It looks like Chaim is still struggling to open his motor, as you said earlier. I think Angelo is just burning him a little more now, not letting him go back to his wheel. Communication is a very important thing here in this race.
It's the most important thing, but they are a couple who have ridden a lot together, and they should understand each other very well. Quite often, one rider will feel better in the start than the other. I mean, you have to understand what your partner is feeling.
Absolutely. We just saw Matan Philipson and his couple about to start. Just a few seconds for them.
As you can see on the live here, the little hill going up. I mean, the riders are going thick and fast now, aren't they? It's non-stop. Oh, we've got a nice looking bike there with those spokes. Let's see if we see it on the TV.
Here we can
Here
see.
we are. The rider on the right's got those carbon fiber wheels.
I don't think I ever saw something like that on a mountain bike.
I think you see them in Europe. The Europeans love them. I can't quite understand if they're flexible or not, but they look good.
Well, they look very good. I hope they're strong enough for what they're going to have in the next days, because it's not going to be easy.
Oh yeah, I went round the pits before, and I physically tested all the a lot of the cyclist tyres to see what kind of pressures. And I think today they're over 35 PCI, but the riders were saying they weren't, but they were really pumped up.
Well, today they're going on the sand, and it's going to be, and the dirt is not so good, so they can get that high pressure. Later on, when they'll have the technical parts.
No, they can't do it. Yes. That's right. You can't. Technical in Israel, hard stone, sharp stone, very bumpy. You cannot ride high pressures. You will you'll ruin the wheels. You'll puncture. It's not a good idea.
Absolutely not. As we can see, more riders going down that bridge of Shavet Zion. Getting some more images from our electric bike.
Now I was told that Chaim rides on feel, while Angelo rides to watts. So maybe I don't know what's going on, but I think Angelo should. Maybe Angelo's doing his pace and waiting for him to catch up.
Well, he is doing that for a while now. I'm not sure he noticed. Maybe he'll shout out soon, but I think they're just getting back together.
Yeah.
Looks like Chaim is just closing that gap on that little incline.
What you can't see is the wind is blowing on their backs at the moment, all the way to Akko. But obviously on the way back, it's going to be in your face.
And this is going to be very hard when it's in your face. The wind is not, it's pretty strong today.
Yeah, there's not a cloud in the sky, but the wind is blowing.
And luckily we are towards the end of the Israeli summer, so it's not too hot today. There's a nice breeze. So the riders will sweat, but not too bad. And it is a short stage, only 18 kilometers long. The fast riders should do it in less than an hour.
I think it's probably about 25 degrees outside today. The humidity is probably about 50, not much higher than that. So it's quite pleasant. It's a nice riding weather.
It is a great riding weather. The only problem is the sun on your face and on you. It's hard to escape that sun. As you said, no clouds in the sky, not much shade today. They're going near the beach into the city of Acre, which we'll talk a lot about later. There's lots of history in this city, many stories to tell. The first riders to reach there will be Chaim and Angelo. And they have a little crossing over there. They need to cross the river. You can see the electric bike is having a little problem crossing that little stream over there.
I do hope it's a freshwater river, not the seawater. I mean, cyclists don't like getting seawater in their chains and gears.
So it gets salty and unpleasant later. Here you can see the race village from above. We are here in the regional council of Mate Asher, who are hosting this race for the second year. We didn't have it last year, but we had it in 2019. They are great hosts. We're really enjoying to be here.
Now, Mate Asher is a regional council of kibbutzim and moshavs. And generally, the whole area is full of agriculture. In recent years, it's been bananas and avocados.
That's very interesting. Here we can see a better view of that passing. It's not easy. You see that there is levels that you can go on. You don't have to get in the water. But if you don't get a clear view behind your teammate, maybe you can get in the water by mistake.
We can see Noam and Yoval coming up as well here. They're looking very good.
Another thing actually about Mate Asher is that they're very good at volleyball. They have a good volleyball team. They were the champions, I think, for many, many times. They may even hold the record for Israeli championships in volleyball.
I think also water polo they're very fanatical about.
Wow, it's really a council of sports.
You know, up here in the north, I live up here in the north, and I mean it is completely different to the center of Israel. There's a lot less people, there's more villages, a lot more areas to ride in, and we'll be talking in the next few days about all the bicycle trails and the opportunities you can have here to ride peacefully and safely.
Actually, JNF has helped a lot of these bike trails. They built lots of these bike trails, over 1,700 kilometers of bike trails from beginner levels to professional levels. You can ride an easy trail or you can ride a difficult trail. You have everything here all over the country, and especially here in the north.
That's right. Tomorrow you're going to be seeing two of them, Chanita and Matsuba. Chanita is quite technical, quite a hard climb and technical. Matsuba is more flowing, but as I say, the faster you go, the harder it gets.
Absolutely, and we'll have a lot of time to talk about those tracks tomorrow and about how we rank them. As you can see, the bridge is above the train here, the train that goes all the way to Naharia from Acre.
Now this was on the old train tracks that originally the British, when they were here, had from Cairo to Lebanon. And in Rosh Nikla, where we'll see tomorrow, it used to go through the rock. They actually cut it through the white rock there.
Yeah, that's when they tried to connect Israel to the rest of Europe. Well, when they were here in their
Well,
time.
that was when the mandate was here.
Yeah.
and they were in Egypt, Israel, and the French were in Lebanon. I can remember the train track still on the floor.
Here we can see another duo going out. This is already way calmer. Many of the riders here are recreational riders. Not everyone here comes to race. Some come just to have fun and enjoy this fabulous event.
Of course, it's a race, but also it's a target race for people who want to train all year round, get out on the weekends and have fun.
And they are going to have fun. They may suffer a little bit, but they will have fun.
I don't know about suffering being fun. In the end, you have a smile on your face, that's for sure.
That's what's important. You can see the beautiful views of the Mediterranean Sea as the riders here make their way towards Acre.
I mean, our front couple should almost be in Acre, or in Akko in Hebrew. Akko, I don't talk, but you know about Akko, it's a UNICEF World Heritage Site, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Here we can see more riders choosing to go in the water and not go on that sketchy little trail.
It's safer, but you're gonna ruin your drivetrain, really. But it's a short stage, so they'll be able to clean it later.
Yeah, and they actually have great mechanicals here. Great mechanics who can fix the bikes later.
That's right, I've seen Shimano give a service where they'll fix your bike, they'll service it and get it back to you the next morning.
That's absolutely great. Now let's look a little bit into the start line today. The riders are starting from now, and the last starters would be at 4:02. And a few interesting riders that maybe you should mark for yourself are the Grandmasters. They'll start at 2:01. Will be the first big Grandmasters favorite, Israel Chen and Gil Kashi.
They are both a couple of lifetime athletes. I mean, they are monsters. I have to say, you get them on the road, you're not going to catch them. They are fantastic athletes.
Here we can see the first women about to start. Adi Medan Frilling and Hadass Weiss.
Hadass Weiss actually has her own race. She used to have her own marathon race she organized.
Really, what race?
Oh, you've got me there. It was I've taken part in it. It's up in Mishmar Emet. It was called Eila something. I can't remember actually.
Merotz Ayala?
It's Eila, that's it. You got
Ayala race.
That's right. I was there. Were you there?
I was there. It was a great marathon race.
Yep. She also has a women's team of cyclists she runs.
Yeah, that is a lovely race in the area where the Epic first started.
That's where the first three seasons.
3 editions.
3 editions. He was up there. Yes. I should remember I was there.
And here we are in Acre. We can see the riders just got into Acre. They're about to hit the center of the city. We're going to have some great views of this wonderful city.
Acre was originally in the Crusader times a port for the Crusaders and in the Moshikim and Yotumim. After they started Israel, they added on. Now it's become a modern city with an old city together with Jewish and Arab inhabitants.
We actually also have Druze and Baha'is in Acre.
That's right, the Baha'is. I don't know if many people know what Baha'i is, but they're certainly interesting.
They are very interesting. We can see the riders now climbing on the walls of Acre.
That's the ramparts, yes, of the wall.
You can't see it here, but this climb is very steep. It's hard to get it through the camera. Maybe some riders will have to walk up. As we can see, the electric bike is trying to chase these riders. Now going back to the start list, around 2:17 we'll have the mixed favorites. We're going to have first Shlomi Chaimi and Omer Shapira, our Olympians.
That's about in half an hour's time.
Yep. And 30 seconds later we'll have their big competitors, Omer Lav and Rotem Gapinovich.
Now they're both of the women there are pro riders on the road. Shlomi is or is double Olympian, plus multiple Israeli mountain bike champion.
9 times, I suppose.
9 times, I don't know how many, so many.
Many times. Yeah, he was a very talented rider. We'll have to talk to him a lot.
We can see on the top there, on the ramparts with the cannons, Napoleon trying to besiege Akko and get the Ottomans out. And I think he was there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he gave up.
He was actually there for 2 months.
2 months. So
it was 1799 when he got there. He was outside of the walls for 2 months, and he didn't manage to get into Acre. He was very frustrated, and he did that after successfully conquering Jaffa and the Mount Tabor.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't manage to go through these Acre walls, and they still stand today.
Still stand. They were built properly. You can see the climb there. It is actually quite hard. It's not easy at all, and it's not smooth. You can see the bikes going up and down on the bumps.
Absolutely, you need to get your gear low, get or down really hard on your seat, or stand up, and do it as fast as possible because you don't want to stay on this climb for too long.
Riders coming almost into the old port city. This is obviously the seafront, and they've recently invested in improving the promenade. It's a lot nicer than it used to be there. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at that.
It is absolutely beautiful over there. You have a beautiful beach and a beautiful place to walk.
The sea there it's like a rock formation. It's like a shelf. You can stand up, walk into it until you reach the ledge, and then the water becomes a lot deeper.
Here we are going to see the riders going off the walls. They have this little U-turn, and then they have the same, it's not exactly the same climb, but the same sort of climb.
On the steps.
They'll have to go down. They decided to do it on the steps. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I've got good teeth. Maybe they got good teeth, and their teeth aren't going to fall out. The steps, it's constant. It's if the steps are all the same, then you get used to it. I mean, you can do it. I don't know why they wouldn't go on the right. It looks easier to me on the right. But I mean, a lot of these riders have done it before, and they probably decided beforehand what they're going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, they did it 2 years ago. The prologue went on the walls as well, and I guess most of the riders here did the race 2 years ago, and they know what they knew what was expecting.
I know that a lot of the amateur races spend time coming up to the north before the epic on weekends and doing the trek, just doing right in the north and getting used to the singles and the.
You can just see now the map for today's race. We're going to the sea and back, and then south to Acre, doing a little route over there and heading back to the race village. As we can see the riders now, I think it's the night halls that they're entering now.
Yes, that's the old. What you see now is the Ottoman level. Underneath that level is the Knights Templar level from the 1200s, 1300s. The Maluki took it over and just the buildings went into disrepute and everything fell down, and the Ottomans just came and built over it. But underneath there, they've been digging it out, and there's actually there's a whole city underneath the modern city.
Yes, it is absolutely amazing. It used to be a place where the Crusaders would host other peoples who came into Acre. They used to have their meetings. Actually, when Acre became the capital of the Crusaders' kingdom, the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the headquarters came to the city of Acre, and these were the headquarters of that kingdom.
Well, in those times, people would do pilgrim. They would do a pilgrimage from Europe to Jerusalem. And one of the routes was on a boat from Cyprus, and it would land in. It would come into one of the ports, and Acre was a port. They'd rest up. If they were sick, they could get treatment, and then they would carry on to Jerusalem.
Get another close look of that climb. It is not easy. It is hard, and there's even another little step just to finish it off well at the end. Here you can see the cannons, the old cannons of the city. That's just a great piece of history in Acre. see more and more riders making their way into Acre. This stream pass.
Ori, in Acre, you know there's some great restaurants there. If you like hummus, if you like fish, it's the place to go in the north. There's a certain restaurant there that you have to stand outside to wait to get your hummus.
Wow, sounds like it must be very, very good.
It's amazing. It's Said hummus in the old city. It's in the shuk. You know, the shuk, which is market in Arabic. There's the ancient shuk you can walk through, and it is literally the same as it was 300 years ago. It has the same smells and tastes. It has the same look. They have spices in there, fish and vegetables. It's very crowded. It's very popular. People come in the weekend and have a great time there.
Well, that's amazing. Then if it has the same taste, I believe they had great hummus 300 years ago as well, because the hummus there is indeed fabulous. You should totally check it out if you're a hummus fan.
I actually don't know anybody who doesn't like hummus.
I didn't catch into this. I didn't find anyone like that as well. We just see here Yaniv Cohen and Ekfir Simantov riding, as we saw Angelo and Chaim on their way back.
Yeah, we just got a glimpse of them. They look a lot better. They look like they mean business at the moment.
Yeah, they're 25 minutes, into the race. They should be here pretty soon.
Another 15 minutes to go. No, maybe 20 minutes. We don't actually know. I would imagine they could do 30 Ks average.
I would imagine so too. We just saw two duos there riding together. We had a little chat earlier with the commissaire.
With the UCI commissaire, and he said there's no problem with that at all.
Yeah, riders can ride together, but he said it just won't happen. Riders want to gain as much time as they can today.
I mean, if you catch a group and they sit on you, it's just a matter of time, because you've obviously put 30 seconds into them. They're on spare time. They're not going to be able to hang on for very long to you. So it's not going to happen too much, but it will happen.
It may, and at least they won't have any problems to start tomorrow. Here we can see again number 384. This is Yaniv Cohen and Ekfir Simantov riding through this race. Actually, their team name is the Blue Turtles, which is an interesting name.
They're actually turtles. There are a lot of sea turtles around in the north, and they do come out onto the sand here. Most of the beaches here are sand. There's no pebble, and they come out. I don't know what time of year breeding season is, but they come out and lay their eggs in the sand. And Israel has a very efficient wildlife team that go and collect the eggs every morning and protect them, bury them again in protected areas so they can reproduce.
Wow, that's very interesting.
You can volunteer. You go in the morning. You have to get up early. You have to go in the morning. You walk down the beach and you check for turtle flippers marks on the sand. And then you can find out if the female has gone and laid eggs in the sand.
That is very interesting. Joining us now is Dror Pekach, former elite Israeli rider, the Israeli Hebrew commentator. Hi Dror, how are you doing?
Amazing to be here. We are just setting up with our broadcasting for Sport 5 and following you guys at the English version. You know, everything looks here really epic. Also nice joining the table with you guys, and for sure it's going to be a super race. We already see the improvement, and various kind of riders already in. Give goosebumps to be around, and gives me the feeling to hump on my bike. It's a big day for sure for Israel cycling, Israel mountain bike scene, and
I mean, we've had a break for 2 years. Riders have been waiting for this. They were so disappointed last year not to ride. I mean, I'm just nervous. I don't know about the rider, what the riders have been doing.
I can say that for good and for bad, there is always the discussion. Epic Israel is the main event of Israel cycling. Sometime for good, sometime for bad, because most of the season is mostly empty. Now we are getting into a nice section. You know, it's probably you guys were talking about it before. Racing the technical parts, the historical places, the changing of like a real cross country, up and down, brake bumps, go full in, full out. That's really good for the athletes to see, and I think riders were missing it. Definitely not an easy one, but really impressive.
I mean, we saw in the Worlds this year that they used a similar course to Akka, and that they were climbing up in Croatia. Wasn't it Croatia, the Worlds?
Serbia.
Serbia. And they were using also castles to ride on and the ramparts. I mean, it's great for TV.
In Novi Sad, Nemanja did a great job there building the course with his guys, and yeah, there was a different kind of mountain biking. It was more like a little bit of old school, but a cool old school. But here I think what the group were doing is an amazing thing, because you don't want a first day of time trial being too long, but also you don't want it too short. Okay, here we see a very, very good example of the technical skills. I'm sure that later on we will see the elite riders. They will smash it, you know, no doubt. Coming back from what you said, it's a different kind of cross-country Olympic race, but for sure it's a good one. You can really see the skills, also the physiological skills change when the course goes like that. We're going to have full 4 days of that, and that's awesome.
Absolutely, and talking about smashing it, do you think the big riders are going to smash it today, or they're going to save some energy for tomorrow?
Well, there is always the big discussion if you want to take it easy or not easy, but keep your energy for the next days. But on the other hand, when you ride 18 kilometers, it can be a really, really good opener for the legs. So also physiologically, no doubt, the big dogs will go full gas, all out, 100%. Also, you want to win a stage. You don't know what happened tomorrow. If you have a mechanical, maybe tomorrow is too long for you. You're going to go full out. Maybe you don't need to take risks, that's for sure. But when you see later on the Austrian, the Germans, and the top Israeli guys, I think they will be going full gas.
I mean, as we saw in the old city, these riders haven't been able to pre-ride here. They don't know what's coming up. So when there are those little turns with the steps, I mean, it can be a shock to the riders. The elite riders have low enough heart breath. They're able to see what's going to happen and ride up them. And your amateur rider is almost on the limit. He won't be able to think about it too much. Dror, how do you feel about if you were the Masters champion in 2 years running and would set off first? I mean, it's a great respect, but there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders because you're going to have everybody on you.
It might be super true when you race a mass start and you're leading, but when you go on time trial, a couples time trial, you just do your best. Most of the couples here in Israel, we have to say that Israel is one of the most experienced countries with couples races. We started with the Volvo Challenge in Israel 2002. It's nearly 20 years back. And that's a huge respect. You now see Rafi Farhi and Ran Pressberg. They are from the Yarkonim Warriors, a really, really cool and strong team from the center of Israel. Those guys, they used to train together, usually, casually, 2-3 times a week. And not only towards Epic Israel. And then there's the IGP,
Angelo Di
Angelo
Veroli.
Di Veroli with Chaim Dahan. Yeah, Deveroli, he likes to talk a lot during his riding. It's kind of a personality, we know that. I'll take you back to what you said. I think Israel has really a lot of experience with couples races. Also before in the old city where we saw the technicals, you see the difference between a skilled rider of how much you touch your brakes, brake on, brake in, and there where you see the difference a lot. And for sure now we see one of the strongest couples that can also talk strongly in the elite field. I would expect there will be probably around the top 15 in the elite field with a little bit of a reduced field from Europe. Though to COVID, I guess we will see them smashing it.
We can absolutely see them going very well this year. We can see Angelo is doing going very strong today. I'm pretty sure he's been pulling the whole time today.
That is Angelo's job. Chaim is a climber. Chaim doesn't have the strength that Angelo does. Angelo works to the watts. Chaim is working on feeling. And if I know Angelo, he's pushing.
He absolutely looks like he's pushing. You can see that beautiful ride here in the halls. It is pretty technical. As you said earlier, the riders have to stay alert. Even a little dark there, do you think it affects the ride?
Depends what kind of sunglasses you got on, I suppose.
When you saw we're now just going back to another of the open sections where I think average speed should be around over 30 even. There are differences between Angelo to Chaim, mainly on the short races. I think that when we go to the 4 and 5 hours, then Chaim will definitely be able to close the gaps between the two. Smartly they are doing on their way back. Angelo takes more wind, takes the wind now, and they will ride, and I think in just a few minutes we will see them right here to cross the finish line. You just saw a little bit of a slower curve by Angelo, but the guys, they will definitely one of the contenders, mainly for the Masters, no doubt.
They are, and they're very close. As we said, they're the previous winners. They won the last 2 editions. We can see now Eliav Eisenberg and Niv Pelez are making their way in Acre.
I think this is the last bridge back.
It is the last bridge back, 36 minutes into today's race. Into their start, at least they started 1:30.
36 minutes.
Yeah, that is very, very fast.
So they're going to finish with this 40 minutes on 30 Ks.
That is fast.
Look, you can see Angelo's waiting for Chaim. I think they want to finish strong together. They want to look good. They want their competitors to see that they're a couple.
אחי, המצלמה, בשידור אתה...
You can see the atmosphere is great there between even the electric riders and the other riders. Chaim is a little back, and the second rider's time is the time that counts.
That's right, it's no point going off the front and leaving your partner behind you.
Absolutely no point about that, but they are very, very close. They should be here within minutes.
I mean, it's out. They've got 37 minutes on the clock at the moment and maybe 2 or 3 to finish. I mean, it's a fantastic time for it. Around 40 minutes for 30 Ks.
It is a fantastic time. We just see a replay of Noam Schiller and David Resnick. Not a replay, they're on their way back. Noam Schiller and David Resnick. Still confusing when it's the same way back and forth.
Yeah, that's right.
Dror, as long as we have you here, do you have any predictions for this year's race? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I still see a big difference this year between the Europeans and the Israelis. I think George Egger is one of the biggest engine for me at the course, and most of the 4 days are mostly flat. Let's be honest about it. Tricky, super hard, but mostly flat. Egger has definitely skills, but when you see the Austrian, Gregor Ragel and Charlie Mark, after Charlie scored 6th place on World Championship just last week on marathon, and those guys, they know each other very well, so this will be, we just saw nearly an accident on the finish line. When the Grandmaster just crossed the finish line, a lot of emotion. You can understand that, you know, riders need to be clear. The time is less than 30 minutes, which without 38 minutes, sorry, which I think the elite riders, if they go full gas, you're going to see easily 34, 35, and even maybe lower.
It is very good. And you talked about George Egger. This year, George Egger is not with his regular duo. Maximilian Brandl is not here. He's going to be with Lucas Baum.
Yeah, Maximilian Brandl didn't arrive this year after 2 successful years together, but you know, it's a lot of experience. And even if one of the partners knows the courses, know the trails, know the area, it helps a lot. Definitely George Egger will be, let's say, the bigger engine in this race, but also Lucas Baum is a pretty good guy. He knows to get along, and he's a good marathon rider as well. They didn't show here for the second place, that's for sure. They're going to fight for the gold.
Absolutely, it's going to be very interesting. As we can see, the first finishers of Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Baroli. Good news for them already. It's been half a minute. Nobody has passed yet.
I think it's a minute or so already. I'm looking at the clock. A minute's gone past. Angelo's calmed down a bit. I think all that tension's come out. They've realized they've done a fantastic time. Now they're just waiting and watching. And there they are.
Yeah, Noam Schiller and David Resnick just came in over a minute after the time they finished, approximately. So they are not going to win the stage, David and Noam, but it is going to be a long race. Still 3 days to go.
Okay.
We can just see Nitai Zharia and Yariv Shikri. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name.
Zachary
Shikri or something like that from Team JNF or KKL.
As you can see, they're going through the very small entrances in the walls. Now we're going to go. It's going to get a bit hectic here now with riders coming back every 30 seconds, riders leaving every 30 seconds.
It was just Sharon Peher and Nir Zohar. Pretty good result. They're 2 minutes and 20 seconds back. I'm not sure it's the final results. They cut off because they didn't start first, and they came in pretty quickly to the start 9.
No, I think that's the time. They're taking the individual times. They are 2 minutes 20 down, and Dan Zygmunt is coming in 2 minutes 38 seconds down.
We have some more finishers, Noam Stashnov and Yuval Friedman.
Now it'll be interesting to see what their time's going to be.
Yeah, I still suppose that the results may not be so accurate. Seems like the time from the start.
I think it's the running time, yes, so not their individual
I
time.
think it's the running time, and you need to take off the time of their start, because obviously Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Baroli started first. So we'll still look into that as we can see some more riders making their way into the old city of Acre.
Well, I can see from Yuval, they're very happy as a couple. I think these two are very matched. They're very good riders, and I think we're going to see a big fight tomorrow on the front of the 40s.
I think we're going to see a big fight throughout this whole weekend. I think it's going to be very, very interesting.
לראות פה.
אלוף, אמנון, אלוף.
We are here with Angelo Di Veroli, just finishing the race. How was it today? How was the race today?
Angelo, in English, please, not Italian or Hebrew.
אוקיי, מה אני לא הבנתי את ה...
How was the race today, Angelo?
was אפשר לדבר בעברית? באנגלית? אוקיי, it was a very good race, I felt very good and strong, and until half race I got flat tire, and was a little bit hard, but I never give up, and I continue to race until the end with all my power.
Angelo, if you have a puncture and you ride so fast, what's going to be tomorrow?
I hope good, because I feel good, very good. I have started the World Championship, and I'm still in my peak, and also my friend Chaim, who he very good shape, and we back to in the here to win again.
You know, you are two very different people. Chaim is very, very quiet, and you are very, very loud. How do you work together so well?
Maybe because of this we are very good together, really, because I'm really angry every time. He is a half קצי שני שלי, איך לא...
Say it in Italy.
In Italy, la mia mezza anima.
Now everyone gets it.
It's a little bit hard to think in Italy, to speak in Hebrew, in English.
And do a race at full gas for 40 minutes.
Yes, 4 minutes was a... I think this is a good time.
Very good time, very good speed.
It was a very good time, and you may be today's winner. Let's see the results later. We are just about to have Shlomi Chaimi and Omer Shapira starting in a moment.
So Angelo, go and have a rest.
Thank you very much, Angelo. So it's just a 2:16. In a minute's time, we're going to have Shlomi Chaimi and Omer Shapira.
Now Shlomi is multiple Israeli mountain bike champion. I don't know how many times. You said 9.
I counted.
You counted 9. Could be more.
That's what his Instagram page
And
says.
Rodham is a Omer, sorry. She's a pro rider on the road.
Canyon SRAM team.
That's right. And we saw her in the Worlds and the Olympics.
Yeah, both are Olympians. The Olympians of Israel, one in the cross country, and the other is in the road and in the individual time trial.
Now I actually remember Omer when she was 16 and she used to ride with her father, and they used to do marathon races together, and her father always used to be behind her, protecting her all race long.
Well, he's not here now, but seems like she's managing pretty well. She is a very, very strong rider. She had a very, very good Olympics. She was actually third in a point, and it looked like she was in a medal position.
She was in the breakaway up until maybe 2Ks to the end.
Yeah, she was very, very close to get that medal, and the group caught her near the end. It was a really, really great ride from her. And I believe many, many Israelis were on their feet and in front of the TV, hoping for an Israeli medal. It would have been the first medal in cycling for Israel, but maybe she'll do it next time.
That's right. And the next up we have Rotem Gaffney, who also is a pro rider.
Rotem Gafinovich and Omer Lahav are another very, very strong duo. Rotem also rode in Canyon SRAM. Now she moved to a different team. She also raced the World Championships and the individual time trial. Omer Lahav is a young rider. The dynamics between them is going to be interesting.
It should be evenly matched.
Could absolutely be evenly matched. The Rotem is coming in great form, so is Omer. And usually in the mix, you look at the women who are not as strong as the men, because they will be the one that will set the pace.
That's right, but it is so easy for a man to do damage to the lady rider by riding too strongly and not understanding what she needs from the race.
Absolutely. As we said earlier, communication is the most important thing here in a couple race. You need to be good together with your duo. We just had Liat Vitkin starting her race. Lian Vitkin, excuse me, and Tzachi Ben Gigi. They're actually a couple, I understand, in real life, and they're also riding here together So good luck for them. They're riding in
Good
the
luck.
mixed
I mean,
category.
they've got to go home together as well in the end of the race, so good luck, you know.
I hope they won't fight too much.
You know, Ori, I have to say that the two women pro riders that we do have in the Pro Tour, it's such an achievement for them to get there, because unfortunately the women's road scene in Israel isn't big enough, it isn't strong enough, the sponsors aren't there to help them out, and really you have to be super, super good to get into a pro team from Israel.
It is absolutely an incredible feat for these two women to get to where they got, both of them being in professional teams, actually making cycling their profession. It's not easy. Not many Israeli riders at all manage to do that, and they are riding very, very well. Both of them riding in the World Championships, and Omer riding in the Olympics and doing a great race.
I mean, and they're not just riding, they are competing. They're not on the back of the peloton ever. I mean, they are in the mix all the time.
They are competing, they like to show their jerseys, they like to make a mess, and they are trying. They are always trying to get that victory with moves that sometimes look like they're hopeless, but Omer Shapiro showed that these moves can sometimes almost get you a medal.
But that's how the woman who won the Olympic road race, she's an amateur, she went in a crazy move with Omer, and she won that. She got a gold medal.
She did get a gold medal. She is an amateur, and she even doesn't want to be a pro. She's a professor, if I'm not mistaken, and she wants to stay a professor and ride for fun. Well, I'm not sure it's all-time fun, but when you get a gold medal, I'm sure that's lots of fun. We have confirmations of the results. The winners, or the leaders for now in the Masters, I'm pretty sure the winners are Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Beroli. Second are Nir Zohar and his duo, we'll check it in a moment. And third, I saw Noam Strashno and Yuval Friedman. Nir Zohar and Sharon Pe'er, excuse me, from CCC.
It looks still close, but there's a 20 seconds, what is it, 30 seconds?
20 seconds, yes.
Yes, and a minute to the third place riders, so it's all very close.
That was a minute or so, so it's still all close, and we still have 3 full days to go, so everything can change.
I mean, a minute is nothing. You get a puncher, that's 5 minutes you can lose.
Well, Angelo got a puncher and he gained a minute. So as you said, it's going to be very interesting what will happen when he doesn't have a puncher. We can see some riders storming into the race village, doing it as fast as possible.
And going the wrong way.
Well, they finished, so it doesn't really matter. It was Eran Meshorer and Yoram Ben Shaul from Team Fuji, or Fuji.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can see the difference between the faces on the riders before they start and after they finish. I mean, obviously before the start, they're quite unsure of what they've got, how it's going to be for them, what their partner's like. And when they finish it, you can see it's an easing. It's a relief.
It is absolutely a relief to finish this race, but they still have a few more days and they need to stay alert. They need to go and rest now. It's going to be interesting to ask the riders how will they recover for tomorrow's race. Maybe we'll catch some riders to ask that later.
That's right, often you lose races in between the races by not recovering properly.
It's the race in between the races to get strong again for tomorrow, as we are back here in the city of Acre. I can see more and more riders are choosing the steps rather than the other way down. Here we can see Chaim Salomon and Gadi Sadeh making their way back to the race village from team Just Push It. Just Push It. It was hard to read with no space.
See on the screen now the top 50-year-old riders. These are the top 50-year-old riders. Chen.
Israel Chen and Gil Kashi.
Yes. We don't know what time they're doing, but they look good. So quite often it's a surprise to see Sam Banks over the steps.
Well, I would surely be surprised if I would go into a place like that. You go into a building, actually. I don't think the riders here were expecting to ride inside of a building, but they are.
That's actually whole part of the epic, is that Gal, the organizer, does not release the route. He won't tell anybody what the route is going to be for that year. And believe me, as a competitor, it drives you crazy. No one knows.
It can absolutely drive you crazy. And I actually saw riders in the past few days looking for the arrows, trying to understand where the epic is going to be, because everyone wants to know where they're going to ride. One of the most important things in a mountain bike race is to do the recon. You want to know where you're going to ride, because if you're going to have some technical elements, you got to get ready for them. You got to know what line you will choose, and it is a very interesting thing. I don't know if it happens in many races.
What you do get is you do get the elevation graph, so you know where the climbs are, how long they are. You can plan your race by that chart, but all the different turns and singles you don't really know. You're guessing.
You are guessing, and here we can have some more riders riding through the. It's actually almost like it's as wide as a single track. You can't pass too many riders there, which may be a problem. And you can see a big difference there in this duo.
Yeah, I think that was the duel that had to walk up the steps. So maybe one of them did ride the steps, and the other one walked up it. There we go, just waiting up. I think this is a ladies' couple.
Seems to be Idol Lassman and Shlomit Amana Shani who are just climbing these great walls of Acre. And they're doing something that Napoleon did manage to do. They're conquering the walls here. We're going to have some more wall conquers later on today, and maybe a little quicker. But it is a pretty big feat to get on these walls. It's a great ride.
I mean, all of this riding inside the city, the stop, start, the turn, the up, the down, it raises your heartbeat. You don't have a second to rest. It's completely different to marathon riding, really. It's really cross-country riding they're doing today.
Absolutely, all of these turns probably upsets your pace, and it's hard to maintain speed, which is one of the most important things in a ride like this. You want to do it as fast as possible.
We're on a mixed couple. That's why I think the guy here was a little bit stronger. There we go. Are you okay? Come on.
A little push over there.
That's right. This is also a technique for the mixed. The man will also feel a lot, because he's going a bit slower, he'll also push along and help along his partner.
Here we can see a few duos there are riding kind of together.
I think this is Shlomi here. The sun's in there, we're on the opposite. The sun's in the wrong direction, but I think that is Shlomi.
But maybe actually Shlomi and Omer started after a big break. Then it will be impressive to see if they caught a duo in front of them. It means that they are going pretty quickly. Could absolutely be them. And we'll just try to get a better picture of that later. This is another Grandmaster duo. Number 503 is Ronen Chirizli and Vitali Frost, another strong riders. One of them on the stairs, one of them
That's right.
on the pave.
I don't know either on the stairs. Maybe it's a drop in, maybe it's a step down. I wouldn't go on the stairs with a route like that. We've got a bit of shouting on the start. I think there's some local guys going off here.
Getting pumped up before the race to get this adrenaline going, and it's good. It's a good way to get yourself started. It's the first day. You want to get into it.
Listen, you've been training for maybe 8 months for this. You've been raising your game up, and now this is a release.
Yeah, as you said, riders trained for this race for almost a whole year. It's a target that they put at the beginning of the season. They want to be here. They may have some events in the middle, but they go to races and they always have the epic in the back of their minds. They want to do this race. It's the biggest cycling event in Israel for 8 years now.
I think it's the only cycling event in Israel will actually be able to close down a whole city for it.
It is, and it is amazing that a whole city is closed for this Bara Epic Israel, and not just a regular city, Acre, which is a great city with lots and lots of history. It's actually one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. It was founded around 3000 before Common Era, so that's the Bronze Age.
That's right, and people have come and go, but Akko has stayed.
And there were always people there. There are other cities like Jaffa that was established like 7000 BCE, but it wasn't continuously inhabited for the whole time. And there were always people in Acre because it's such an important point. It's on the sea. You see it when you get to Israel from Europe, which was obviously where many people have lived for thousands of years.
Also, it actually, before prehistoric times, this was the route for humans to leave Africa and move into Europe. And we find a lot of Neanderthals in here in Israel, on the Camel, on the coastal plain in the caves. This is actually a route that they used.
Absolutely correct. If I'm not mistaken, and we'll go past there in the next few days, but there is a cave in the area that was recently discovered where they found a person from 50,000 years ago or something like that, a Homo sapien. You call them when it's so old. And that shows you the amount of history that there is in this place. In Acre you have a little more civilized history because it was just 5,000 years ago. I'm saying just because 50,000 years ago is a very long time. As we can see, more and more riders making their way through this prologue.
Sorry, Ori, I can see that all the riders are lined up. They're all waiting. They're all twitching. They're all looking at each other. And we're starting off every 30 seconds. A couple are going off here.
Yes, as we're going again through the old buildings of Acre. Looks like the old jailhouse here, the old prison.
Let's hope they can get out.
Well, it's a breakaway. It's a breakout from here that they have to do, and they do have some bags of sand that they're using to get out. We have some more riders making their way here to the village. We have 500 Israeli riders in this year's race, which is a record number of Israeli riders.
I think when I did the first one, I think it was 400. I think it was 400 races.
And it grows and grows. This year, unfortunately, we don't have many riders coming from abroad because of the whole COVID situation. But I'm sure more and more riders, more and more international riders will come to race this event in the upcoming years.
Also, it's the Olympics. The Olympics are finished. It's an end of a cycle for the pro riders, and they are going on a doubt. They're taking a bit of time off. Although the next Olympic will be 3 years' time, it's not the best time to start racing again.
Absolutely. Maybe next year we'll see more and more riders. And in order to get into Olympics, you need to get a certain amount of points. And every UCI race, every race has a different ranking. We can see now the results of the Grandmasters. Andy Levy and Orangeville are now leading. We still don't have all the riders coming back.
Yeah, so we're waiting actually for the better 50-year-old riders to finish. So the time should go lower for them.
Yeah, so going back to these rankings, every race gives you a different amount of points. It changes by the rank of the race. Bara Epic Israel is now the highest ranked race, SHC, which is as high as the Cape Epic. And so riders will want to come here in the upcoming years to gain points, because these points could be very, very precious and very, very important for the Olympics. They can gain the most points that they can gain in a race like this.
But it's not only for the riders, it's also for the nations, isn't it? The nations collect the points. The more points they get, the more riders they can put in.
Absolutely. Actually, you can see it happening in many occasions. When Shlomi Chaimi tried to get to the Olympics the first time, many Israeli riders were up for the mission, and they went to different races to gain points. And they knew that they won't be sent in the end. Maybe only if something happened to Shlomi Chaimi, but I'm not sure they planned on that. But anyway, they were there to help Shlomi to get to the Olympics because it's gained in a national level.
That's right, and we don't have so many world riders here. I mean, if you look at the European nations, Switzerland, France, Germany, there are tens of them, hundreds of them will be collecting points, and we maybe have 5 riders.
But we still managed to get Shlomi to the Olympics twice already, having a great race in Rio and in Tokyo. I remember him racing in Rio. The first lap, he was at the top 5.
He was on the top, and then he punctured, wasn't it? And he lost his rear wheel, I think.
Yeah, he had a couple of punches, if I'm not mistaken, and that so he couldn't stay with the winners.
And we can see Hadass here has just finished. You can see they've obviously enjoyed themselves.
And they're even enjoying themselves more now. Finishing in Hadass Weiss and Adi Medan Freiling.
You know, Ori, I went round the pits before looking at the bikes just to see what people are riding now these days. And you know what? I think every single bike has a 50-tooth cassette on the back now. I think we've turned that corner where you'd have doubles and all different equipment. I think Shimano and SRAM, they're all 50s. And the only difference is the size of the tooth on the front, the chain wheel on the front these days.
Yeah, I actually noticed that too. When you have when you have a bigger range with your rear derailleur, then you can do that. They have 12 gears, many of the riders here, so they can allow themselves stay with only one big chainring on the front and that big cassette on the
Also,
back.
I noticed that maybe 90% of the bikes here are double suspension, full suspension, 4-inch up to 5-inch bikes. But I did see one titanium full suspension bike out there in the pits, Alinsky.
Well, that's a brave rider, especially with what's expecting him in the next few days. It may be a little tough. You can see more and more riders are making their way back here into the race village. This is Ron Boutelier and Bosmat Boutelier. Another couple in real life, I guess.
Couple is obviously giving a little hand to push up. It's actually a lot steeper than it looks, that climb over the bridge.
Here we can see Omer Shapira just...
you can see the difference in the speed straight away.
Yeah, they're flying, and I think Shlomi is up the front for...
Shlomi is very, very technical.
He is absolutely very technical. Top 30 riders and World Cups, cross-country World Cups, he's a very, very talented.
I mean, Omer used to ride a lot of mountain biking in the country, but since she's turned pro on the road, I wouldn't imagine she's been doing much at all.
You can see the riders are getting here, and they get some water, they get a good glass of shake, which is a great way to start their recovery.
I mean, these riders aren't pro riders, but the treatment you get here, and I know because I've ridden 4 of these races, you get the pro treatment. When on the first race, when Gal started it up, I mean, I don't know if any the listeners here know, but Gal started it because his father was run over by a lorry on the road and died tragically. And him and his brother, also his brother is a lifetime cyclist and a road racer, decided to try and do something to remember their father by. The first and second, third editions of this, they're all run by family members and friends. I mean, everybody came and gave a hand. I think it's grown a bit bigger than that now, but there is that family feeling still with the team here.
It is still the core. Gal is still running it. Idi Chub was a great friend of Gal and did some Cape Epics with him.
They actually, I think they finished 2nd or 3rd in the mix one year. There was one year that, I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, so you still have that family core, as you said, running the race here. And it is indeed in memory of Gal's father, Giora Tzachor. They always had a vision together of having a big race, like a Cape Epic race in Israel, the pearl of the races in Israel, and they absolutely managed to do so. It's an amazing race here. Riders wait for it every year. You can see riders are now chilling.
This
Looks
is
like after the race.
Yeah, this is the talk. What's happened? I did this, I did that, that happened, this happened.
Seems like they're all teammates from Team Nitro, I guess.
I guess they shouldn't be talking now. They should be putting their feet up and thinking about tomorrow.
Here we can see some more results for the mixed category. Then we still didn't have Shlomi Chaimi, Omer Shapira, and Rotem Gafinovich and Omer Lahav get here. For now, it's Limor Malka and Guy Gil who are leading.
And we can see the time there, 44 minutes, 40 seconds, which Angelo, and what time did Angelo come at? 38?
38 minutes.
38 minutes, that's 6 minutes more on 30 Ks.
It shows you how fast Angelo and Chaim did it. Soon we'll see how fast Shlomi and Omer managed to do it. They were just an acre, I think, on their way out of acre.
Sorry, Oi, but I have to say this team is from Misgav. You can see by the shirts, they're my local team. And people from the region of Misgav in the north.
We're getting here another confirmation of the Masters results. Chaim Dan and Angelo Di Baroli are in the front. And I think most of their big competitors have finished. You can see between the first place and the second and the fifth place, there's only a minute and 8 seconds.
I mean, that's nothing.
It is nothing. As you said, a flat tire is 5 minutes. So lots of things can happen.
Well, what it does do, it sets them up for tomorrow. They know who's on form, who's not on form, who to look at, who to watch. I mean, it just settles you down for the next big day.
Absolutely, and it's a good boost for Chaim and Angelo to show that they are on form and they are maybe on the best form here with doing a great ride today.
I mean, when you turn up, you've trained and you haven't raced this much because of the COVID this year. There is an uncertainty. You don't exactly know what you've got in your legs, especially compared to friends. I mean, I never used to go out and ride with my competitors because I never wanted to show them what I had.
That's an interesting tactic. I actually saw something interesting last night when I saw the big competitors of the men category having dinner together. May not be riding together, but they did have some jokes together. What do you think about that?
I think in the top category, everybody knows what you got. I mean, there's no bluffing there.
Well, maybe you can't hide there.
The difference between the pros and the amateurs here, and I mean even the top amateurs, is they still have to go to work in the day, and they still have kids to send to school. And unfortunately, sometimes you don't have the time to do the training. I mean, you may bluff it a bit, but if you haven't got the time, your performance is going to go down.
Well, absolutely. Some people have cycling as their profession, some don't. And it's not only about riding, it's also about recovering. After a big ride, going to work, it's not the ideal thing if you want to recover and continuously improve.
I mean, I heard from a friend who works in high-tech that they always knew who was out of work at the time, between jobs, let's say, because their cycling would improve.
Well, that's a great indication. We can see some of the riders are not managing to get up these walls.
I mean, if you turn the corner in the wrong gear, you have got no time to change up the gear, so I mean, you might as well push.
Absolutely, there is no chance you can get up that climb with a heavy gear. It's very, very steep.
Maybe he's broken a cable. Maybe he's stuck in his highest gear. That's happened to a partner of mine in one of the days.
Well, I think today is maybe a better day to do it because you're not too far. But no day is a good day to get a problem like that, a technical problem. We just see, you don't see it, but Israel Chen and Gil Kashi
just whizzed in. I mean, they're just flown through here. And they look fresh. And I don't know what time they've done, but they look fresh. I mean, they look good.
Actually, this is Ilan Turbiner and Moran Feller that you can see on your screen now. They're just about to get up these walls. You can see them slowing down, getting their gears low.
That's right. You have to turn, get ready in the right gear, and then go.
And then attack it. Now you can see Ilan on the back over there. And front is his partner, Moran Feller.
I mean, if you take this climb in the wrong gear, try and change under pressure, you're gonna mash up your gears quite quickly. Here we got a couple, a ladies couple just turned up, 109.
Absolutely, we're still getting images from all over the race, from that water passage. It doesn't really look like a stream, it looks more like a big puddle of water, pretty muddy. Here again, we got an image of Ilan Turbiner going over these walls.
Oh, that's a nice climbing style there. Look at that, pumping the pedals.
One out of the saddle, the other is on the saddle, sitting tight.
I was always a stand-up climber. I could never sit down and climb. I loved it, getting up. I mean, people say it's less efficient, but you do what's good for you in the end.
Absolutely. In the end, it's seeking your comfort and doing what's comfortable for you. People want Tour de France.
Sorry, all you can see here on the screen now, the rider on the left. I mean, he's standing, but his suspension isn't correctly set, and he's going up and down, and he's losing energy that way.
Absolutely, you should always try to be as efficient as possible, and while standing up, getting your suspension closed. We see some more results of the mix. It's now Jastrabov, Yelena, and Nitzan Hendler who are leading. Nitzan Hendler is a...
That's it, they've just pipped them by 6 seconds there, but we are, as you say, we're still waiting for the top teams to come through.
Actually, they may get the podium now. If they're first, they could maybe be third if Rotem Gapinovic and Omer Shapira would be better. And with no disrespect, I think the teams of Omer Shapira and Rotem Gapinovic may do slightly better. Here you can see our electric bike with that orange band on him that allows him to get our live broadcast to your screens.
How many of those bikes do we have there on the track at the moment?
Today we have 2 electric bikes. From tomorrow we're going to have 3 electric bikes on the track, so we may have it in different categories.
And how many motorbikes?
I'm not sure about the motorbike number, but we have a few motorbikes, a few razors, and a helicopter. We also have some static cameras, as you can see now, the camera on the bridge, getting an image of these riders, these Grandmaster riders going up. It was Ronen Chirizli and Vitaly Prost.
I know, I have to say that in the beginning of the Epic, the helicopter was much smaller. As the Epic has grown, the helicopter has grown.
Well, it's hard to imagine what will be here in 10 years. We may get a plane.
Wow, that's the Eurosport, isn't it? They're returning to Eurosport here.
Could be, could absolutely be. That's another helicopter already. It grows to get another helicopter for itself.
I mean, a lot of the races in Europe, when it's rainy and cloudy, they have problems with that because they can't get the pictures up in the sky, so you don't see so well. But down here, clouds aren't a problem in Israel at this time of year.
No, this is a great time to race. The breeze is nice. We're here in the shade, so it's actually very pleasant. I guess it's slightly hotter now. You can see them actually going inside a soccer field, or I'm pretty yeah, it's a soccer field.
No, this is the moat between the outside wall and the inside wall, and this one could be flooded.
Yeah, and there is a soccer field over there.
They probably use it as a soccer field. It's so big. It used to be a car park.
Oh.
Years ago, they probably changed it. They improved, turned into a soccer pitch. But I mean, they could actually flood the moat from the sea.
Wow. So they can make a little pool.
That's probably why Napoleon couldn't get in for 2 months.
You can see the races really inside the city of Acre. They're absolutely closing the city sidewalks.
And you can
Only
see
riders are there.
You can also see the date trees on the left and right, and the dates are actually coming into season now. You can see them hanging.
Maybe a lucky rider would have a date drop on him and have a little snack.
I actually know a lot of riders who swear by dates. They eat a lot of dates on there, especially triathlonists.
It's a great thing to eat as a rider. It has lots of energy. It's healthy.
You know, they grow a lot of dates in Israel, in the Jordan Valley there.
Here we have again results of the Grandmasters. Still waiting for Gil Kashi and Israel Chen, but we have Yaakov Cohen and Ziv Anfi are also strong riders.
Yes.
Finishing in
41 minutes 48, which is maybe three minutes less than Chaim and Angelo came in.
Well, they're not racing them, so it's
no. But this is the 50.
Trouble.
They're over 50s. I mean, there is a difference.
There is a difference, absolutely.
But I mean, the top 50 guys can run with the top 40. Maybe not head-to-head, but they will finish third, fourth in the 40-year-old degree. You know, they don't lose that too much in that 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm pretty sure Angelo Di Veroli and Chaim Dahan are not that young anymore. They're pretty close.
No, I know this is their last season. This is the last year in the 40s. I mean, Chaim's already over 50 and Angelo's 49. So the 50-year-old guys this year are starting to look over their shoulder to see who's coming up.
Absolutely. I think the 50-year-old guys will be worried to have a duo like Angelo Di Veroli and Chaim Dahan going in their category. Now we can see Omer Shapira is trying to make her way back to Shlomi Chaimi's wheel. He's looking bad. He sees that she's struggling a little bit. She's getting as aero as possible, trying to get low. Her elbows are nearly at 90 degrees. She's just gonna mark Shlomi that she's there, and he's gonna accelerate back again. As we can see, as we saw in Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Veroli, one rider's on the front. Today it's Shlomi Chaimi.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's his job. He's got to take her around. But obviously, he can't ride too hard. I mean, it's the second place rider who takes the time and who wins you the competition. It's not you don't have to be the strongest to win. It's you have to take your partner to the line.
And you have to take him there the best way possible. You don't want to overcook him too early in the race, because if he'll ride too strong in the beginning of the race, he may get done.
There's a lot that happens a lot.
So communication and planning are very important things in the race. Knowing your body, knowing when not to go too strong, knowing when to recover,
and to be honest with your partner. So, I mean, if you're not honest and you start making faces and you start trying to hide something, it's not a good idea. Look, it doesn't work out. I mean, if you're feeling tired, tell your partner.
Absolutely, it's never a good idea to lie to your partner. Here we see again, Shlomi Chaimi is also getting low.
He's already low anyways. They're not tour riders.
No, they're not, and they want as less wind as possible.
But they're very. I have to say they pedal beautifully. Omer here, she has more upper body movement. She's always had that. She's always looked busy on the bike. And Shlomi is just rock solid. I mean, just beautiful to watch. If anybody's watching now and wants to learn how to pedal a bike properly, that's how you do it, like Shlomi.
Absolutely. Well, Omer's pedaling is working pretty well too.
But as you see, she's got more upper body movement. She's more busy on the bike. I mean, that works for her. She's always been like that. And you can't say it's a bad technique because she's an Olympian.
You can't say it's a bad technique, absolutely. And now they can see the bridge that will take them back to the side of the road of the race village. They're just a few minutes from here.
That's right. Funny enough, I mean, their heartbeats are up, the wadim are up. You see that little ride and you think, oh, I've got to go for that again.
It can be frustrating, but at least they know that they're very, very close to the end. And that will absolutely cheer them up.
As you can see here on the trail, it's bone dry. We haven't seen a drop of rain since May. They sow wheat and barley here in the spring, and then they leave it in the summer fallow. And when the rain turns up again, they'll plough the fields again and start all over.
That's another beautiful shot of this duo. They're just going to make the turn and get up that bridge.
And you can see the wind is blowing. It's been in their face all the way back from Akko.
And that's why it was so important for Shlomi to wait to Omer so she can get as much drafting as possible, because in the speeds that they're going, it's very important.
I mean, maybe she's saving 20% of energy just being behind him.
Absolutely, and that allows them to go faster and
the overall time, that's what is important, the overall time.
Yes, and they are competing for today's stage and for the whole win in the mixed category.
But many things can happen. I mean, we're only the first day, it's only an hour. We got 4 days, and how many hours do you think we've got here?
Well, we got maybe another 12 or 10 hours.
10 hours to go. What can happen in 10, 12 hours of riding?
Everything can happen. 3 years ago, we had Yaroslav Kolchavi racing Epic Israel, a previous world champion, and even he didn't win the race because, as you said, everything can happen. He had many technical issues on the first stage, and that was just too much for him, and he couldn't get the win. He did get stage wins, but he didn't win the overall category. It's a big grind. It's a long grind. You just need to you need to hold the whole way through. You need to get out of mechanical issues.
Oh,
You see a little issue over there. Just talking about what can happen.
It was
to
that
you.
last little step up that caught him out, I think. There.
Yeah, it is a tricky step over there. It was Gil Cohen and or Dayan.
No, they're good
202.
riders.
They are good riders, but when the heartbeat goes up, you get more mistakes.
That's right. I mean, when your heartbeat doesn't up, everything seems to be easy. Everything seems to be simpler. But when you've done an effort, maybe a half an hour effort, things don't become simple anymore.
No, you don't get to see the things as good. You don't have the best judgment. You can see the riders making their way back north. Looks like they're going out of the city now. I think we should see Shlomi Chaimi.
They must have been, yeah, because they've come over that. They came over the bridge a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, this looks like Omer Shapira, maybe? No,
yeah,
excuse
Rotem,
me.
no.
Rotem and Elav, no, I don't think they are. It's number 201.
Here we go, it's Shlomi coming over. And where's
Here we
Omer?
see
Oh, Omer looks...
Omer Shapira and Shlomi.
She's done the work today, you can see. Ooh. She's over her handlebars, getting the water already.
Well, it was a hard stage for them. Just under 40 minutes, I suppose. Wow, that's an amazing time. Faster than the Masters. Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi.
That's 37:30 for them. That's a minute quicker than Angelo and Chaim.
Wow. That is very, very fast. And looks like
I don't think we're going to see that time until the pros come in the end of the day.
Absolutely. We may see it again in a moment with Rotem Gafinovic and Omer Lahav. But that is a very, very good race from Shlomi Chaimi and Omer Shapira. So they are leading overall now.
That is an amazing time.
It is a great
I mean,
time.
both of those riders aren't flat riders. They are climbers. So what's going to happen tomorrow and the next days, I don't know.
It just shows you how strong they are. And they're actually both very technical, so I don't think they're going to have a big issue with the tracks that they will have throughout the year, throughout this race. And I think it's nearly half a minute past, so I think they may be the winners in the mixed category today. I don't see Rotem Gafinovic and Omer Lahav yet.
Here we go. Who's leading the Israeli colors? Here we go. It's Rotem.
You don't see it, but they just made it into the village, Omer Lahav and Rotem Gafinovic.
Just wait for their time. I think there was a minute difference there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it seemed like a minute, so I think it's going to go to Rotem Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi. Now we can see 205. It's Adi Weiniger and the am8 making their way up north back to the race village.
I mean, I'm just watching the two couples there in the finish. I mean, it's all smiles, they're all friends.
And we just have the results now. Rotem Gafinovic and Omer Lahav.
1 minute. Did I say a minute?
You said a minute. You called it. So that's a good start for Omer
Anyway,
Shapira.
that time is also a very good time.
It is both great times. And Nitzan Hendler and Yestrov Ilena are still on the podium in the mixed category.
Also, another mixed couple have just come through very quickly. I don't know what their time's going to be, if they were passed or not.
I think it was Tzachi Ben Gigi and Lian Vitkin, excuse me.
I mean, they're having a big hug here. They're obviously very happy with their result today.
And we just see the confirmation of their results. They're pretty good.
That is also
1 minute and
fantastic.
15 seconds behind the Olympians. That is a great result.
And there's some more emotion coming out there. I mean, she's obviously very happy with that result.
And they are in contention. They're still in contention for the general classification of this race.
She seems to be the Israeli champion by her shirt, isn't that true? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lian Vitkin is the Israeli champion.
Marathon champion. Yep. Wow, so that's going to be that's going to be great for the next coming days. That's going to be hotly contested.
She is the Israeli marathon champion, as you said, and she finished second in the cross-country Israeli championship, so she is a great rider.
She's a classy rider. I mean, that's great for the next 3 days. 3 couples, all within a minute and a bit.
We're up for a good race in the mixed category as well. Here we have another confirmation of the overall results of the prologue so far. First are Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi. Second, Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Veroli, just 34 seconds back. And third are Nir Zohar and Sharon Pe'er, less than a minute behind them.
I mean, that's nothing. It's great. It's great racing.
It's great racing, and the Israeli riders are having pretty good results so far. We'll wait to see for the Israeli elite men to see if they can challenge the other international men. This will be a big task for them.
Oh, we've got Guy Neef, haven't we? He was a pro rider on the road for Israeli Startup Nation.
Absolutely.
With a younger rider.
With Nadav Reisberg.
That's right. And he rides for them. He's in their development team. Is that correct?
He may be. I'm not so sure about that. I know he's riding for TNT.
Ah, TNT. So he's a marathon bike rider. Yeah.
But we'll get a talk about them when we see them later. They're a big.
TNT's the biggest club in the north. I mean, it's right up in the corner.
They are, and they've got some great riders coming
They
out
actually
of
have a very good coach.
Here we can Here we can see a little bit of the city of Acre.
The aqueduct.
The beautiful aqueduct that used to bring water from one point to another.
Oh, I think we're seeing here all to the north. This is the Exifah beach.
A beautiful beach in the northern part of Israel.
I think almost anywhere you step here, there are ruins, and you can see the remnants of peoples before us here. Here we got a little recall of time and. Yep, they're just showing it again. We're having a little break at the start here, I think.
A little recall of what happened so far. This was David Resnick and Noam Schiller. There was a big race in the Masters. The Masters started first this race. Now we can see the Israeli commentators. Ro Pekach, who joined us earlier, and Asaf Ackerman.
So while we watch them, do you want a coffee? I'll go and get a coffee.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to pop up for a coffee quick. I'll be back.
Well, I'll stay here with you, trying to remember, trying to recall what we had so far. We had some great racing in the Masters, the Grandmasters, and the mixed categories. We're up for some more great racing in an hour. We'll have our final riders leaving the ramp here in Moatza Ezorit, in the regional council of Mate Asher. And again, we can see the race so far. This is Angelo Di Veroli leading his companion Chaim Dahan over the bridge and back to the race village. This is the beginning of the race. You can see how fast they were going, and they did have a very, very good result, finishing the road in 38 minutes and leading and winning the Masters category. That's a great boost of confidence for the 2018 and 2019 leaders. Now we can see the route map. We're starting from the regional council of Mate Asher, going south near the beach into Acre, and heading the same way back north with a couple of different turns on the way back to the regional council, to the race village in Mate Asher. 18-kilometer long prologue, 50 meters of climbing overall. This is the race village that you can see now. Get some great shots from our helicopter and the helicopter cameraman Itamar, giving us great views. Here we can see again the Shavei Tzion bridge. We have cameras all over the race. Some are static, some are on bikes, some are on razors, some are on motorcycles. Throughout the race and Acre, the riders are going on the old city walls. Later on, they'll get off the city walls in a pretty technical descent and steep, as well as the climb. And then they'll get into the old monuments of the city. They'll go into the old night hospitals, and they'll go into the old prison. We're already after an hour and a half of racing. Great racing. The riders here didn't leave anything on the road. It was great to see all the riders here making it through this course. It's pretty technical in the city of Acre, as we saw earlier. Even harder than this steep climb. You have little steps that are covered with bags of sand to make the ride a little more possible. Some riders managed to go through it, some didn't, but it was very surprising, I suppose, for some of the riders. They didn't expect to ride inside buildings, to go up and down steps. It's hard to keep your pace high. You have many twists, many turns. More and more riders here are coming back into the race village. I'll remind you, the starts are every 30 seconds, as we can see. Riders from the buttons, the green buttons here in the Epic Israel's number 312, Eyal Kazenstein and Eran Lerner, as some riders are finishing. We're 1 hour and 34 minutes after the start. More and more riders are getting on that start ramp and are excited to start this Bara Epic Israel. These are Arnon Rosenbaum and Roy Hacker, who are now on the road number 377 from the Masters category, just going over that little puddle and making their way, it seems like, into Acre right now. They have an electric bike, I suppose, behind them. And more riders are on the way back. Continental is another partner in this year's race. We have many partners helping this happen. We obviously have Bara, Bara Tzmachim in Hebrew, who are part of the name of this year's epic, this Bara Epic Israel. This year, another very important partner in this race is the Regional Council, who are hosting us, the Regional Council of Mate Asher. Working with them has been great. They've hosted us for the second year counting, and they've been very, very good hosts for the race village. As we can see, Ilan Turbine here and his duo suffering up that climb. They're very, very near the end. Some more partners that we have this year are JNF, Kakal, who's really helped this year, creating some of the single tracks and making lots and lots of trails in Israel. We'll go back to that later. We have again the results, the overall results so far. First are Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi, 37 minutes and 30 seconds. Just more than 30 seconds after them are Chaim Dahan and Angelo Di Veroli, a great ride from them. Third are Nir Zohar and Sharon Peer. Fourth are Rotem Gafinovich and Omer Lahav. Fifth are Lian Vitkin and Tzachi Ben Gigi. And sixth are Noam Strashnov and Yuval Friedman. It was a great ride for them. And we're going to have another interview here for the race. It's going to be 5th place overall, 3rd place in the mixed category. Liane, that will join us.
Okay.
How was the race today, Liane?
It was very difficult, tough race, a lot of wind.
Are you happy with the results so far?
To be honest, I think I can be happy with the result, but I don't know yet what is my result compared to our competitors.
Now you can see it. You're fifth overall and you're third in the mixed category. Just a minute and 15 seconds behind Shlomi Chaimi and Omer Shapira. So that is a very good ride. Just in front of you are only Olympian and professional riders.
Yeah, for sure it's the most difficult competitors, but we still want to win. It's still my discipline, marathon mountain bike. I'm the national champion, so my goals are to win with my partner, Zahi. And it's going to be tough, but we have 3 more very long and difficult days ahead, so anything can happen.
And how are you planning on recovering now after today's race?
We'll go to the room, do some exercises, complex, recovery drinks and stuff, and prepare for tomorrow.
Very good.
How about pasta tonight? How big is the bowl going to be?
It should be normal, you know. Don't change things that you used to.
We noticed you were very emotional after the finish. Were you unsure what you had in your legs? Was it just like a release? What was going on?
I am an emotional person and it's just, you know, it's a race that I'm doing with my partner in life, so I'm able to express my feelings with him, so you keep yourself very stressed during and before, and the minute you cross, you let it all go, so...
But can you be angry with him?
Never. He went
I mean,
too
you have to
hard,
get in the same car.
Yeah, he went too hard, but we expect the best from each other, so that's what we do.
Do you work with power meter so he knows what you're capable of, or is it all by feel?
We work with power meters, but each one has their own, so he doesn't see my watts.
Yes, but he can know how much he has to produce what you can produce, you know?
Yeah, he knows it, but when you see the other couple in front of you, you don't care.
You don't care about anything. All the plans go out the window all the time.
Yeah.
We know this feeling.
You go full gas from the beginning and then you just die.
Well, let's let you go. Go and recover. It was great. It's going to be a great race tomorrow. Again, there's only 1 minute 15 between the 3 of you, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much to Lian joining us. It was a great ride from them today, and I will wish them good luck for the rest of the race.
And what a nice couple.
Absolutely, a very nice couple. Will be interesting to talk to them later to see how they manage things as a couple here on the race and in real life. How the dynamics are. It looks like it's going pretty well for them. As she said, she is more open to be with him. Now she is joining the Israeli TV.
The TV of course.
Yeah, no rest for her.
And she was actually very nervous about coming to talk.
Well, now she's on camera as well. So
I think we found a new star in the Israeli cycling scene, you know?
Absolutely. Great ride from her. We can see more and more riders going down these steps. We're less than it looks like a crash over there or a bike on the side. Doesn't always look good to see a bike lying down. Hope nothing bad has happened.
Maybe someone's already gone home already.
Maybe someone had enough already.
And here we go, this team here, they got the shirts on the Samarathon. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, the Samarathon, another 3-day race.
It's a 3-day race in the south in the winter, next to Eilat. It's actually a lot of the riders here use that as a training camp.
It is another big event as we're we have a kiss blown from Adi Weingel and riding with her Doron Amit. Both they have very experienced riders riding for a while. Now you can see Lian talking to Channel 5.
But I have to say we were there first.
We were there first and we made the discovery. You made the discovery, and we had a great talk with her. She seems like a very good rider, very nice. We wish her luck and this year's race.
I have to say it's always nice to see women riders enjoying themselves with the men, feeling that they can compete. It's it's an environment that they can feel comfortable in, and I'd like to see more ladies on the trails.
Absolutely, I think we will all like to see, and the lady professional riders that we have in Israel are absolutely proving themselves. They're having great results all over the world. Here we can see again Doron Amitz and Adi Wenger, another mixed couple. They do the mixed, I think, nearly every year.
Yeah, I think it's a lifestyle for them.
It is. They both like to race. And here again we can see the mixed podium and the mixed results actually for this prologue. First are Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi, less than a minute behind Rotem Gafinovic and Omer Lahav. Third are Lian Vitkin that we just talked to and Tzachi Ben Gigi, only a minute and 15 seconds behind. So the top three are packed and very close together. You can see riders battling against that wall and nearly getting to a standstill. Using the...
I mean, it's not because he's tired. He's obviously in the wrong gear here.
Yeah, it's probably the right. You can see his wheel getting up in the air. I wonder if he managed to do that climb after all. You can see more finisher shirts from older years. At the end of each race, the riders get a finisher shirt, and riders like to get and brag with these shirts all over the country later on.
Right. I mean, next week on the trails in all of Israel, they'll be riding with their new shirts on, just letting people know what they've done.
That they did the epic. It's
the more rare shirts are the shirts of the leaders, and everybody knows what they are. And when you see them on the trails, I mean, you give respect.
Absolutely, you absolutely give respect. There are actually other jerseys. There was the Chamsa jersey for riders who did the first 5 epics, which is another rare and nice shirt. I guess there'll be a 10 shirt in a couple of years. And I'm pretty sure riders are still getting the Chamsa shirt after 5 epics. So we may have some new Chamsa riders. And now we see again Adi Wenger and Doron Amitz getting close to the race village. They're just on the Shavei Tzion bridge on their way up. We can actually see maybe a little more even between these two riders. Adi and Doron are riding near each other, not one in front of each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point pushing on here. You have to be patient for your partner. And here we got a couple of just having a good time on the track here.
And in the end, that's what it's all about. Adi Magal and Gil Amir are here to have some fun.
Oi, can we just say when the pros are going off again?
Well, the last pro is going to get off at 4:02. Getting back to the actual start times, we have the first big names. We have
That's the UCI riders we're talking about here.
Yeah, the UCI riders who are starting with a minute between them will start just near 4. It will be first will be Guy Niv and Nadav Reisberg 5 minutes before 4. They will start, and then we'll have all the pro UCI riders. Then we'll have Yuval Tzachor.
So that's 50 minutes. I mean, they should be starting their warm-up probably sooner or later. They're probably here now, mingling a bit.
And they're just probably on their way, getting ready. You can see the riders are... we will probably be able to see the riders fairly soon. I can actually see some Israel Startup Nation riders around the race village over here. Here again we have some more overall results of the prologue. Staying in first place are Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi. Here we can see a view of our helicopter. It goes very low to get the best shot possible of the riders.
I'm just going to pop off and catch a friend I've seen. I've got a cycling friend here that I ride on the weekends. Leo, he's from Sweden. He lives in Israel. He's not a chef, as in the Muppets. I mean, you have to be old to know that joke. But I'm just going to pop off and ask how it was for him.
Well, enjoy yourself. Here we can see the riders just relaxing after the stage. A big hug over there for these finishers. They have some fruit if they want. They have a good milkshake and a cup of water, so they could just relax and start their recovery for tomorrow's race. We were talking about other partners later. Another important partner is Joe's No Flats, the official sealant partner of the Bara Epic Israel.
Hi, I'm back. I've just got Lior. He's a cycling buddy on the weekends. He's a local. He knows every single track around here. He's persuaded his friend and his neighbour to join him this year. And they're making faces already that one's a lot stronger than the other. So we just like to just ask how it was.
It was good. It was good. It was a fair game. I was pulling in the beginning, and then he was driving like crazy on the way back. So it was a fair game.
So you let him pull you in the wind?
Yeah, yeah.
But Leo, that's not quite fair. You should help him out in the wind.
We did. Don't worry. A minute. That's how we do it.
And how long have you trained for this event?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks. That's it.
I didn't do anything this summer. Yeah, and I trained before the summer, but then I had a break for 2 months. And now I've been training hard for 3 weeks and checking out all the trails around here. And yeah, we're prepared.
Now, Leo, I know you're not Israeli and you're not from Israel, are you? Where are you from? Tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm from Sweden, live in Stockholm, but I'm here now for about 2 years. Yeah, I'm married to an Israeli. We live at Kibbutz Sa'ar. Yeah, we have a business in Sweden, a vegan restaurant, and yeah. Enjoy life here, the heat in Israel.
And did you ride bikes in Sweden, or is it just in Israel you've decided to ride?
It's an Israeli thing that I picked up here. So.
Okay, so Leo, go and rest. Have fun tomorrow, and please take care of your partner. Don't break him, okay?
Thank you, Elliot.
Hey.
Well, as you could hear, riders from all over Israel and all over the world, even this year, are coming to the Epic. And in previous editions, we had more international riders. I'm happy we can still have some sorts of international riders, even if they live here for a couple of years. As again, we can see the walls of Acre.
I mean, a lot of people are so surprised when they come to live here how big the cycling scene really is.
It is absolutely a great scene. And it's just, you can go out on a Saturday or a Friday and you'll see hundreds of riders or thousands of riders on trails on the road and on trails off-road. You have so many places to ride. We see more riders on their way to Acre trying to get through that big battle. That was number 362. It's Eli Cohen and Shlomi Cohen, known as the Cohens.
And they're from the Buttons team, but I have never actually, I don't know why they call themselves the Button team. Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Guy Kaftori, who's in charge of that team, and Guy Kaftori goes to Button.
Okay, so the Hebrew word for button is Kaftor.
Exactly.
And that's his surname, I get it.
And
we can see them on the screen, and there's another couple just going to leave the start from the same team, Buttons.
Well, they didn't button up today, they zipped up, but they are ready to race. We see more riders going up the walls of Acre. Actually, the origin of the name Acre is pretty interesting. First of all, it's different in Hebrew and in English. In Hebrew, it's Akko. It may not be true, but there's an old legend that says that when the sea was created, it was created up to there, Ad Ko in Hebrew, and that's why they say Akko.
Ad Ko in Hebrew in English means up to here.
Yeah,
yes.
But in Hebrew it's Ad Ko, which goes to Akko.
Akko.
But in English and many other languages, they had different names.
Akka.
The Greek, for instance, called it Ake.
Yes.
And Ake in Greek means cure. They believe that Hercules, in one of his fights, came to Acre, and he had some curing herbs that he had there and cured. And cure in Greek is, as I said, Ake. So that's why they call it Ake.
I am impressed.
And we can keep on talking to the Crusaders. When in their times, the place was called San John de Acre. San John was someone holy for them. But why they called it the Acre? Because they were sure they were in the biblical city of Akron. which is actually in a different part of the country. Whoever knows, it's around Bet Shemesh. So they wrongfully thought they're in Akron, so they call it the Accra, and it just stuck.
Well, they didn't have GPS or maps in those days, really, did they?
No.
Very simple maps, maybe.
And that's how we got the name Acre nowadays. So that's an interesting origin. And another language you can find even other names that don't sound at all like the name that we have now. What's interesting things to get into?
You're beating me here with your knowledge, I have to say.
You see all the riders going back and forth into and outside of Acre.
And these are all the sand dunes.
These are the sand dunes. You need to be careful riding near the sand, not to get too deep into it. You can get your bike stuck in there. You need to just keep your pace, keep on pedaling. So we are here with Gal Tzachor, the race organizer. How is it going so far, Gal?
As expected, better than expected. Just a minute. I will put all the radio and stuff. Look for representative. You can see it looks amazing.
Fantastic.
And really amazing. And it's here. It's here in Galil Ma'aravi, in Akko. Amazing that we can put it like out there, and you can see the production. You can see it's amazing. I'm just looking at it, and I almost can't believe it.
Gal, how
almost.
disappointed were you not to put it up last year, to be cancelled?
When I decided to do that, it was really in advance. I didn't want to disappoint riders or disappoint other partners, sponsors and the municipalities, and I decided enough in advance. So
people didn't waste their time, plan ahead, and then they'd be disappointed.
Exactly, and wasted their money, because I have, like, they give me the responsibility on the resources. They bought a slot, an entry ticket, and their money is like in my pocket. But I didn't want to waste it and to take chances on not on my money. And I think it was a responsible decision. And when I look at it retrospective, I can say that I was
Is there
right.
a correct decision?
Yes.
And so how do you feel this year to start again?
Amazing. This year it's like a...
It's like it's completely new.
And also it's almost an Israeli version, a pure Israeli version.
Well, yes, because it's very. We were talking to the Czech riders, and it was very difficult for them to come here, but they still made the effort to come.
Nachon. We all know about the COVID situation, and it's almost like pure Israeli, and I feel it like I'm hosting my colleagues, my fellow riders, and it's. Yesterday I was almost in tears. Really, I stood here, and it was like.
Well, you know, when I used to race.
Are you ready for this word? Flabbergasted.
That's a good English word, flabbergasted. You must remember that one.
Nachon.
Now, Gal, I have to say, when I raced, you made every amateur rider that came here and gave you your money, our money to you. You made us feel like a pro. And I mean, there are very few people and races that do that. And I say thank you to you. And I think you are personally turning into the father of the cycling in Israel. And I think it sits on your shoulders very well. And I have to take my hat off and say thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, we've been through such a hard time this year and a half. It just feels like a new start, doesn't it? It's great.
Nachon, it is great.
And I know all of these riders haven't been able to go abroad and do Transalps, do whatever they wanted to do,
We are-
and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now you've opened up the gates.
Can. I think we are like top level. Sorry that I'm saying that on Bara Epic Israel. Yofi, guys.
So
thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you very much, Gal. You are top level. So we're back to the race, and we can see more and more riders making their way back. It was great to hear from Gal about the race. It is a great race, and he's been a great organizer throughout the years.
And we didn't embarrass him and ask about his Cape Epic events and what he's finished there and what he's done either. Because if you really look into it, I mean, the guy, how many Cape Epics do you think he's done?
I'm not sure.
I think 5, 6, and he was always competitive with them in the mixed category.
We now have Roy Kapach and Tom Itzchaki, an Israeli duo from the TCH, the cycling hub, a channel that they run. They're about here they go. Roy Kapach has a GoPro on him, so we may get some good videos from him later on. That will be very, very interesting. And they're talking about Israeli or Jewish influencing characters. Let me tell you a story about another Jewish influencing character in the area, a guy named Chaim Farchi, who lived here around 200 years ago, between the years 1760 and 1820. He was actually the counselor to the rulers of Acre. So he got up there and he was the counselor of one of the biggest
that would have been to the Ottomans, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was one of them was El Jazar, who was a very harsh ruler. He used to have horrible tantrums. He even took an eye and an ear out of Farchi, but he decided to stay up there, and that really helped the Jews in the area. He got the taxes lower. He got to soften the rulers to improve the Jewish conditions in the area, which were not always so easy. He's also known for his great suggestions. He was one of the guys, the masterminds behind stopping Napoleon. He called some good allies, British allies and French allies, to help fight Napoleon and not let him go into Acre.
I certainly know the British would always help out stopping Napoleon in those days.
Absolutely, and he did get them to help. But unfortunately, he had an unpleasant ending to his life.
No, don't tell us. Don't tell us.
Anyway, one of the rulers, the new rulers, were told that he was helping other nations, other empires. I think he was. I'm not sure he did it, but people didn't like other people with power. So I won't describe it, but he didn't end his life so well. Still a very interesting character in the area 200 years ago.
And that's actually a family name that is still in use today. I know people who called
Farchi.
Farchi. Yeah.
Actually, we have a Rafi Farchi racing here.
And actually, there's a word in Hebrew, it's falcha, which is a farming term for it's a type, it's grass or how can we speak? Arable farming, falcha. It's used today.
Absolutely, as we can see, the Israeli train going past.
There's only one train I think in Israel, but it goes up and down. It's actually a double-decker train.
It is. You can go up or down, or you can go up for a better view. And maybe you'll see the sea.
It's actually very, very affordable to go on the train in Israel, I have to say. If you go to Europe, England, it's very expensive. It's not subsidized. And Israeli trains, you can go from the north to the south, a 2-hour journey for maybe $10.
Absolutely, the train is a great way of public transportation, and we are just hopping above it with our bridge in Shavei Tzion.
Now the bridge is just for the tractors, so the tractors can go from one side of their land to the other.
And today it's also for over 500 riders here at the Bara Epic Israel.
Well, it's 1,000 because they gave it twice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it's 500 riders and maybe 250 duos. We need to check that out later. But that's a great
and
number.
You can see here the olive groves with the olives. Olives are a very big industry in Israel. It's an industry that's normally the Arabs and Druze have, because they have their own private little bits of land, and they'll have a hectare, 2 hectares of olives for oil. And some of these trees can be hundreds of years old, and they stay in the family for hundreds of years. And as I've been saying earlier, when the Ottomans were here, they started to keep records of land ownership. And the original Druze that have been living here, and the Arabs who have been living here also, who can trace their roots back so far, still have records from the Ottoman era of the land ownership. And you can actually go to Turkey and pull them out of their archives.
Wow, that's fascinating to hear. To have things so old documentation.
Now the kibbutzim, also the kibbutzim here, quite a lot of them have got into olive production, but because eating olive is very labor intensive to pick it, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But so they've gone into the oil industry. It's a completely different tree and a different method of harvesting the olives. But it certainly is. It's the right kind of land and temperature here for olive production.
And it does come out very, very tasty. All the olive oils and olives here.
Well, oil tasters can be like wine tasters, actually.
There are several kinds of oils and many.
So when the families do their harvesting, it should be in about a month's time after the first rain. They wait for the first rain of the winter. They let the tree soak up the water a bit and clean the leaves. It's all done by hand. They'll put a sheeting around the tree, and they'll have very long sticks, and they'll hit the tree to shake the olives out of the tree, and then they'll collect them, take out the leaves, and take them straight to the oil press that night to make it so fresh. They want the fresh oil, literally.
Well, that is not easy work at all to take it all by hand and to hit that tree with a stick.
That's why the families do it, and the kibbutzim went onto oil because to eatable olives, because it's all done by tractors.
Well, we can say the hard work does pay off in this case. It does come out very, very good.
And we can see we've got a couple of couples coming down the path together, and one rider's deciding to sit on the other two in front in the pink.
Now it looks like they may have changed couples now.
Maybe they're going to stay like that, Sometimes it happens.
Well, maybe not through the race. Maybe for next year. They found a better couple.
A better couple, yeah. They got a better wheel.
Well, finding the perfect couple is a hard task.
It's a bit like a science, really. It's very hard. And actually, in the beginning of the year, before you can sign up for this race, there is a sort of market for couples. You will get telephone calls. Are you available? Who you're riding with? There is a sort of a market to get the right couple, and especially if you want to change. Sometimes you have to tell your partner you're not interested in riding with them next year.
Well, it is interesting politics over there, getting the right partner and getting to talk with the right people.
Now, what also happens is that the organization here runs a singles board, let's call it. So if your partner gets injured or can't compete, you can ring them up and you can check who is free to actually ride, so you can still compete.
Here we can see even more couples riding together.
Well, you see the trek ride here it's been a little bit tough today, I think. It's been left behind a little bit.
He's been left behind. It looks like his partner is up the front, attacking the climb now.
Oh no, he's probably thinking what's going to go on tomorrow.
Just getting a little preview. This is a little preview for the whole weekend we have here. We see who's in form, who's not in form.
Who's done the training?
Yeah, even between the couples you can see who's in form and who's not in form.
You can see he's just powered straight up. He doesn't even feel that climb, and his partner is struggling.
The only problem is you can't change partners, but sometimes you have a bad day. It could be a bad day.
That's right. You don't always start well. Tomorrow is another day.
They have enough time to recover.
Oh, we've got a guy with a sense of humor here with a VIP message on the back.
Trying to get VIP treatment maybe when they get back into the race village. Maybe thinking we'll get them an extra juice over here. We don't have too many international riders this year, unfortunately.
No, but I think they're starting to warm up in front of us. They've been given rollers with mountain bikes, and we've already got 3 couples there already doing the warm up, and their start times. We're starting in 12 minutes, is that right?
Around 15, 17 minutes.
17 minutes for the first UCI couple to go off.
Absolutely. And we've had international visitors in this area for years. Actually, one of the famous visitors in the area was Marco Polo. He was actually an Acre around 800 years ago. 1271 he visited here.
Which way was he going to?
He was going east. He was coming from Italy. He stopped here for a couple of months, and then he went east to the later documented adventures that he had with his father and his uncle. So all of these adventures started in Acre.
I mean, all those years ago, it took so long to travel that they had to rest up for weeks or months. I mean, today you just get on a plane and you're there.
Yeah, the longest thing you do is a little connection in an airport for 3 hours, but then they had to take it 2 months. Maybe it was a long sail, maybe a long, I wouldn't call it a hike, but maybe a ride on a horse or something like that.
Well, you know, the hospitalers, that was part of their job to give a safe place for the people to stay at while they were traveling. That's part of that was their job.
It was part of the building that the riders are riding through today.
And we're going to see that tomorrow. Tomorrow, is it? We're going to go up the Gaton, Nachal Exiv. That is tomorrow, yes.
Could be tomorrow, yes.
I'm confused even.
We'll look into it. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
But up there, there's Montfort Crusader, the Crusader Castle up there, which was the Hospitallers, I believe, or the Templars, one of the two.
Yeah, another Crusader castle. I'm pretty sure these are riders getting very, very close to the race village now.
That's our VIP rider.
It is our VIP rider who's on his way, grinding up that
grinding
climb.
up.
Here we have another little, some more images of what we had today so far. Had some great images from all of our cameras all over the race. The helicopters, the e-bikes, motorbikes, and the Razors got us our live feed. Riders went into the city of Acre to great historical views and a great historical ride throughout these buildings, these hundreds of years old buildings.
If you notice now, you see the riders coming over. These aren't the riders that are the top of their category. These are riders of the weekend warriors, as we call them. They're riding Friday or Saturday together, and you can see they're finishing hand in hand with a smile on the face. I mean, they've made a big effort, that's true. Here comes our VIP couple. They're over 60s, I think. They look like they're certainly veterans, and it's a different kind of enjoyment for them. They don't want to be there. They're not interested in what position they are. They're just interested in having a nice time.
They're just interested in that jersey at the end of the race, I guess.
Right, yeah. And also the memories, you know, you don't forget. You don't forget what happens out there.
As you said, Gal makes you feel like a pro. It's a great experience here in this race. It's probably the best race in Israel to race. The best cycling event, that's for sure. In Israel, you have all the sponsors around. You get juice when you finish the race. You ride on the walls of Acre. Where else will you do it? I'm sure nowhere else. You go into the hospitalers, into the night halls. And the hospitalers are not here to hospital you now, but Gal is. You can see riders making their way up these stairs. Not always an easy task. We're up for a big battle today in the men's category.
Oh, let's talk about the UCI.
We have in about 20 minutes, in 20 minutes we'll finish. The men's will finish starting the race, and we have some great candidates here this year. First we have George Egger and his partner Lucas Baum. Not Maximilian Brandl, his partner in the past 2 years. George Egger and Maximilian Brandl won the race in the past 2 years, but Maximilian is not here. George he's a very strong rider. And he's here to win. He's here to keep the jersey. After them, we have the Austrian duo of Gregor Ragel and Charlie Markt. Karl Markt, who prefers to be called Charlie. Another very strong duo. They are on great form. Charlie just finished 6th in the World Marathon Championships. Gregor did pretty well there, I think, in the top 30. They've been second in the past 2 editions, and I think they're going to want to get one step up that podium this year.
And I see that Karl is 41 years old.
He's 41 years old, but he's still flying.
He's still on the top of his game.
We have Milan Damic
פרולוג 2021. איך נולד הסרטון הזה? נכנסנו פה לאולמות האבירים, בתוך עכו. כמעט יצא לי פיפי, באמת. התחלתי לצלם עם הטלפון. כי אני חייב להעביר את זה לכם, הרוכבים. ויצא פרש, יצא לא טוב. התארגנו טיפה טוב יותר, ופשוט חייבים, אני באמת חייב להעביר לכם את איפה, מה הולך לקרות פה.
And we'll join you back after this video of Gal showing the ride in the night halls. Gal and Idit Shub, if I'm not mistaken, the duo that created this race and are managing it. You can see the beautiful ride that they have here in the night halls.
משקף את מה שתחוו ואת מה שאני רואה פה בפועל. זהו, אנחנו עוד רגע נעשה עוד סיבוב, אנחנו נעבור רגע מקום כדי שתוכלו לראות יותר ויותר. בגדול, אין עדיין אישור סופי להיכנס פה ממש פנימה, אבל גם מאוד רציתי להראות לכם את זה, וגם יש פה מזגן. דורימה, Imparablas, dorime. אין חשש, לא יורדים את זה. קיצור, פרולוג שלא האמנתי שיכול לקרות כמותו, ואני כל כך מתרגש להכניס אתכם לפה, לדבר הזה, והאישורים שקיבלנו, נדיר, אנחנו עפים מזה. מקווה שגם אתם.
Well, we're back here with images of the race village. We can even see the e-bikes getting ready towards riding with the elite riders. We are 10 minutes away from the first elite riders of the Gainiv. They're now warming up there. You can, if you would be here, you can see some images of the Israel Startup Nation riders warming up. And if you're sorry that you're not here, here we'll go down to commercials. And as I said, if you are sorry that you're not here today, you can be here tomorrow or the day after. You can go and visit the Epic Israel website or the Facebook page, and you can find yourself some great place for the cheering, some great cheering points. There are some cheering parties even, where you'll have DJ, drinks, treats, and a great atmosphere to be here, or to be in the other cheering parties all over the route. It is going to be great, and I do suggest that I do so. A great experience, more and more riders. Here you can see a horse ride, looks like a romantic horse ride here at the beach. Now this is number 40, Yoni and Yotam Deshe. Probably a father and son from CCC Club, the club of Gal Tzachor, the organizer of the race, known as, well, this duo as known as, or they call themselves as the best in the West. And let's see if they will be the best in this Western Galilee race. Just a little clean of the glasses before hitting the road, and off they go to the race. Smiles all around. We have more and more riders here still ready to race. Some riders are still warming up. Here we can see the beautiful sea and boats in this Mediterranean Sea. Here you can see some help between this duo number 212 and Smiles All Around in the race village. These are older images, and 212 are, we saw them, Ron Boutlier and Bosmat Boutlier. These are older images of Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi, who are still the leaders, the overall leaders of this prologue, with a great ride from both of them, finishing first obviously in the mixed category and also first, as I said, overall, which is very, very impressive from this duo. They are certainly showing that they are strong and they are here to win with this first prologue win. Here we can see some other images from earlier this afternoon of Ilan Turbiner and his partner, Moran Feller. Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi flew on their way back, even with the headwind. They both went low to try to get as less drag as possible. Omer was sitting tucked behind Shlomi, trying to get the best drafting as possible. As you can see, this climb and this course wasn't easy for everyone, and the Smiles and the Big Rains are out. Adi Weiniger and Doron Amitz also already finished this race, both in the mixed category. Here riding for a few years in a row, getting some great views from the helicopter that is always above the race. We are very shortly going to see the elite men riders starting up in, as we said, 3:55, and now we have more and more riders coming through this finishing line. So as we were saying, we're up for a big battle today. We have some great names. Another battle will be for the white jersey of the Israeli leader. We have some great Israeli riders who will probably want to get a jersey. Every jersey is respectful to get here. And there will be a fight between the Israeli top riders here.
That's right. I've just been over to see the two Israeli Startup Nation teams, and they're all on the rollers, making a lot of noise with those knobbly tires on the rollers. I don't know how they do it. Even Guy Niv is having problems keeping his bike on the roller. He's not used to it anymore. But they're all going for the win.
I'm sure they're all going for the win. You never know what can happen. Maybe the leaders will have a puncture or a flat tire, and they'll lose some time. So you should always ride as strong as possible. Guy Niv is going to start just in 3 minutes.
I mean, if anybody's interested, Guy Niv rides on a Factor bike. Factor, maybe people don't know, they don't have a mountain bike at all. He's gone and paid with his own money for his own mountain bike.
Oh, that's interesting. So he really wants to race this race.
He wants to race, and he's promised to come over and talk to us after the race as well.
It would be great to talk to him. Guy Niv is a very strong Israeli rider. The first Israeli rider to ride the Tour de France.
3. He's also finished the Giro and the Vuelta.
He did all the big 3 Grand Tours, finishing the Vuelta earlier this year. He had a busy season, did the Giro and the Vuelta this year. So it was very, very busy. Did the Tour.
I think this year he's raised his level. He's not just a competitor hanging on the back anymore in the Pro Tour. He is in there, he's in the mix.
He was even on a breakaway this year in the Giro, finishing 12th on stage 12, stage 12, excuse me, if I'm not mistaken. Warming up in the race village are now George Egger and Lucas Baum on the rollers, getting ready for today's race. You can see some beard shaping just before the race.
Yep, and Guy Niv and his partner are coming up to the start. Everything is exact with them. They know exactly when they're going to bring their roller, exactly when they're going to come off. Everything is measured by the minute. And they're here ready, putting the gloves on. Ready to race, as they say.
Ready to race and ready to rumble here on the Epic Israel number 6.
It's certainly he's got a new bike. It's white, it's clean, it hasn't got a spot of dust on it. He actually was a bit unsure if the handlebar was straight. I said, don't worry about it. With your legs, who cares?
Well, it is going to get dirty very, very soon. It's dusty out there. It's there's even some sand, some mud. Maybe he'll try to get out of the mud over there.
Oh, yeah, I think it's very interesting. Some riders have to have a clean bike on the start line. and some just don't care. They can start with a dirty bike.
Well, a clean bike is a better running bike. That's you'll get less problems, less technical issues if your bike is clean.
I used to drive people crazy by just cleaning the chain and the derailleur. I think that's the motorbike revving up. If anybody can hear that in the background. I'd clean the chain and the derailleur and I'd leave everything else dirty. I didn't care.
Well, and it worked for you.
Whatever works, works, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. You don't change a winning horse.
The most important thing is in your head. If it's good for you in your head, that's it.
Absolutely. You can see them all getting ready, hitting these legs, checking they're in place, checking that they're good. A little pep talk maybe from between the two of them, two Israel startup nation riders, we can see.
It's also going to be quite hard for them because they're the first couple off in the UCI. They're going to have everybody chasing them. Their reference points won't be there. Maybe they'll have someone telling them. Maybe one of the fathers will be on the course giving them the time. That often happens here. The father or mother gets on the course and gives them the information.
They do have one advantage, and now the time difference is 1 minute and not 30 seconds as it was up till now. And here they're about to go. It's 2 seconds, 1 second, and off they go.
It starts.
The UCI men race has started, and they're absolutely racing. They're sprinting outside of this race village, trying to get back here as fast as possible.
So we have at the moment a 38-minute time leaders.
37:30.
What do you think the men here are going to do?
I think it could be even 35, 34.
Wow.
Think about it. Shlomi Chaimim is maybe a leading man. Another leading man with him could absolutely get a minute or two, or even more off this time. Here are Oded Kugut and Yuval Tzachor, the nephew of the race organizer, Gal Tzachor. Another two Israel Startup Nation riders riding in the Continental team.
That's the development team, isn't it? The Continental. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And you may be able to hear the helicopter back here. It's back for the elite riders. The Austrian riders are also here, Gregor Ragel and Charlie Mark. As Oded Kugut and Yuval Tzachor are off, and they are also starting off fast.
Up on the line now, the guys, the local team from Team Misgav, the regional.
Eliad Daniel and Gili Gonen.
Yeah, the helicopter's a bit loud, it's got bigger.
Well, it's just growing and growing, maybe even in the same year.
Yeah. So the Misgav have a great amateur and youth team, mountain biking generally. And it's been around for at least 20 years. A lot of the kids, they take kids from the school, after school activities. A lot of women ride with them, and they have a triathlon team also on the road on the Saturdays.
Actually, many good riders have grown in Misgav.
Yes,
Omer
mountain
Goldstein,
bikers.
one of them,
his brother,
riding for Israel Startup
both
Nation.
of his brothers.
Yeah, Roy also rode for Israel Startup Nation a few years ago. He's retired now, but also grew in Team Misgav. We even have a younger brother, Ido.
Now Ido, I knew him when he was 10 years old, and he was very annoying. And his brothers will tell you he used to steal their equipment all the time.
Well, he's not here, and they're not here.
No, they're not here, but they would look for a wheel, and it'd be on their little brother's bike.
Well, that's little brothers like to bug each other sometimes.
Yeah, they're grown up now, but they're actually a whole cycling family. Their mother and father they've actually been in the Epic Israel together.
Wow.
Yeah, they've completed that, and they ride weekends. You can see them on the roads in the north, and they're the loveliest family you'll meet, I have to say.
They're absolutely lovely, and their children are very talented. Both Omer and Roy have had great careers. Omer's career is still going on, as we see Lahav Davidov and Elon Cohen.
You can see that. I mean, the riders now mean business, don't they? There's no waiting around. It's straight up around the corner and off.
They absolutely mean business, and they're not waiting a second.
I think we have the Spanish couple up now.
The Spanish couple is up next, Manuel and Victor. I'm pretty sure Victor Manuel is his full name. Victor Manuel Fernandez Grande and Manuel Corredo Morgado. Two strong marathon riders, I must say.
They look like they've got two brand new bikes on the track just for this event. They're sparkling clean.
Their bikes are beautiful. They're pretty young riders, both very strong marathon riders, as we said. Actually, Manuel has finished 7th in the Ultra Marathon European Championships. So he's up for long races. It's an over 10-hour long race.
That's the Ultra?
That's
10
the Ultra.
hours? Wow.
It's hard. It's ultra hard. And his partner, Victor Manuel, is another strong rider, another strong marathon rider. Did some good marathon races this year. Actually finished 4th in a marathon race in Andalusia, European UCI marathon race.
It's impressive.
Which is a very good result.
And here we have the these number 5s.
Well, we're just minutes away from the leaders. They are the only riders remaining. Next up, after this duo, would be Charlie Markt and Gregor Ragel, the eternal second place of the Epic. We'll see them soon. As you can see, some of the Israel Startup Nation guys flying through the course. They look like they're flying.
You can see the dust coming up. Oh, look at the back wheel coming out. That's guy in the front there, I think, and he's putting the power down already.
They're not waiting to ride. So here they are, Charlie Markt and Gregor Ragel. Finished second twice in this race in the 2 previous editions. Very strong riders.
Trek riders, pro riders.
Both pro riders, both been in the World Marathon Championships recently. Carl finishing 6th, Gregor finishing in the top 30. Both in the top places in their Austrian championships every year, and they're both here to race and get that first place maybe this year finally.
I think everybody's here they go.
And off they go. They look a little more calm actually getting off.
And we got the camera after that couple.
And the first camera is after them. The second cameraman looks like he's waiting for them, the second e-bike. Here we can see view of the Team Misgav riders. It's Eliad Daniel and Gili Gonen from Team Misgav. Can't see the sea. I'm not sure they can, but they're near it. Here is George Egger and Lucas Baum. George Egger, last edition winner. Lucas Baum coming in instead of it's not correct exactly. He's not the winner of the Austrian National Championship. He's German. And Lucas Baum coming in this year instead of Maximilian Brandl. George Egger is a very strong rider. Lucas Baum hasn't done too many racers, but I'm not sure George will choose a weak partner. I'm pretty sure they're here to fight for first place.
No, you can see it on their faces. They are focused. There's nothing. Look, no movement. Everything's focused on this.
And George looks like a big engine. He's very strong in these flats, and he's going to fly. And the the e-bike guy would probably press the boost. He'll go on. He'll ask the e-bike to give him as much as possible because it's not going to be easy. So we're going to have a big battle here in the men's. And talking about battles, so we talked about the Crusade battles. We talked about the Napoleon's battle.
Yes.
There's another battle that I want to talk about in the Crusades, and actually has to do with the Austrians. The Duke of Austria actually joined the Crusaders in one of their fights. And he came there around the 3rd or 13th or 12th century. He came with the Crusaders, and he was in the battle to conquer Acre. And as a duke, he came with a nice white suit. But at the end of the battle, his clothes were full of blood from head to toe because it was such a messy battle. You didn't have guns back then. You would go to the guy and you would stab him with a sword or whatever you do. So he was full of blood. His clothes were full of blood, head to toe. And in the end of the battle, he had a sigh of relief, so he took off his belt. That's what the story says. So he had red on the top of him, white in the middle, where his belt was, and red again. So he looked in himself, and the look of himself influenced him so much that he decided that this has to be the Austrian flag. The red, white, and red. That's what the story says. And Austrian people also say it. We can check it later with Gregor and Charlie. But that's the origin of the Austrian flag here in Acre.
That's impressive information, I have to say.
Thank you. And the big question is, will the Austrian flag be the winner today.
Ah, well, we've only got maybe 30 minutes now left to see.
We will, and we will be very curious to see if the Austrian flag will be the first on the podium. We don't really have flags and podiums here, but the Austrians absolutely are here to win. As we can see, number 7 there from Israel Startup Nation.
I mean, just look at the speed they're going to go over the
I don't think they'll even feel the
don't
climb.
even
They're
feel
coming in so fast. A little, for a few seconds out of the saddle just to maintain speed, maybe changing turns up the front. And they're going to go back into the saddle and back into work here. See just a clean turn over there, clean change between them. They're working together. It means both of them are feeling strong. Again, we get some videos now from the Razor following the Israeli duo. Looks like a Yuval Tzachor, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. A little far behind his partner, trying to get back on his wheel. Here's the Team Misgav duo, Gili Gonen and Elia Daniel. Back again. I think this is a George. Looks like George Egger on the back and Lucas Baum on the front.
That's the last group on the road.
If you can pull George Egger, then you're in form, because George Egger is a big guy. He's very strong on those flat roads, and he can absolutely fly. We've seen that in previous editions. He used to be the one who pulled Maximilian Brandl on the flatter sections. He's very, very strong.
I mean, that's a good strategy. But on the days when the climbs are in the middle and you've pulled your partner to the climb because he's smaller than you, you've used your energy, and now you're potentially slower than him anyway on the climb. It's not always the best strategy to do that, because you'll lose time on the climb.
It is absolutely a thing to think about, but usually he would pull after the climb on the way back.
To the finish, he would do the finish off the race.
Finish.
Yep.
But it is an interesting question you're asking here. Who would pull before the? So you're saying before the big climbs you should work together?
Let's say if I was stronger on the flats and had a climber on my wheel, if I'd pulled him to the climb, we both know that I'm going to be slower up there, so shouldn't I be fresher going into the climb?
We're just getting the Grand Masters results for the prologue. Gil Kashi and Israel Chen.
That's pretty obvious. It's a pretty
41 minutes and 12 seconds.
We're very close behind, 26 seconds for Oran and Nadav. Now Oran has won this multiple times with his previous partner,
Amos Gary.
Amos Gary, the famous Amos Gary in Israel.
He was my previous partner here as well in the commentating booth.
He's such a good gentleman as well, and he's a lifetime sportsman. What he's done, many people won't even think about doing.
Absolutely. And third, and not so far, is Yaakov Cohen and Ziv Anfi. Just 30 seconds, I suppose, between first and third.
So also the 40s and the 50s category is always very competitive.
Competitive and all open for the next days. They're going to have some great racing, these guys.
They're all going to be looking at each other to see what they look like tomorrow. You can see there's just a difference in the speed. I mean, the bike starts jumping all around. They start floating over everything.
And you can see the sand there. They're trying to choose the fastest path through the sand.
That's right. It can be a sand trap. It's a bit obvious, but if it's a bit deeper, it can suck your wheel in and slow you down.
Absolutely.
There's nothing worse than slowing and then having to pick up speed again. You want to keep your speed flowing.
You have a little replay here of something that may have happened.
Oh, they're using a berm up there just to take the corner.
They're using every inch of the road to get as fast as possible. And we can see some images from the e-bike behind the riders. So looking here at George Egger and Lucas Baum, let's talk about some of George Egger's result this year. He's been around the top 30 in the World Cup cross-country races this year.
That is impressive because it's an Olympic year and everybody's going to be on form. and the best are going to come to the top.
It is very impressive, and he finished 30th in the World Championships and 8th in the European Championships.
That's actually, sometimes it's harder because they can't send so many, the Germans can't send so many racers there.
Yeah, so you have to fight for your position. I don't think he was in the Olympics, he didn't get to do that, but still having such good results in the European Championships and the World Championships is great. And now George Egger is on the front, putting down the hammer, that's for sure.
And you can see on the e-bike back there, excuse me, I can't remember his name. What's the rider's name?
Ben Kedmi.
Ben Kedmi, sorry, Ben Kedmi. He is that. I think people will probably agree he's the most technical rider in the country, isn't he?
He is amazingly technical. So when you put a motor on him, he can hold on with everyone.
We'll see it tomorrow in the singles.
Yeah, he will. I think he'll have fun with the motor in the single tracks.
He'll be doing some jumps, I think, actually.
We'll get a better view maybe from above the riders. It's like a little helicopter in those tracks. Now the big question now is, will we see riders catching each other? Because if they'll catch the Austrian duo, it could frustrate them a lot.
I mean, sorry, just look at the difference in the climb here. That's Guy Neve coming up second. It's just a power climb for them, isn't it? They didn't feel it.
Yeah, they're just so strong.
So different. I mean, a minute. I'm not sure. I'm unsure. I don't know. I think it's going to be very close, isn't it? We'll soon see anyway.
Yeah, we will soon see. It is very interesting to see what's going on here. Still George Egger on the front, Lucas Baum trying to stay on his wheel as more and more riders.
Oh, hang on, so this is the, I think the pros have caught up with the amateurs, which could interfere a little bit with their flow.
It could absolutely interfere when we get into the little section, the technical sections inside of the city of Acre.
That's right, yeah.
Where all the stairs, because we saw some riders didn't manage to ride, and they had to walk up some of these stairs, and it could absolutely interfere with these riders who will probably have no problem riding everything. Their technical level is very, very good.
It's not only they're still riding within themselves and they have that extra power just to jump up a step or to make that turn, where the amateur is always on the limit, and any sort of difference, anything surprise will take them over the limit.
Absolutely, and there was a gap between these amateurs and the pro riders, but they are absolutely flying. Guy Neve and Nadav Reisberg caught amateurs when they just got to Acre, but they just flew their way there.
Let's not forget they have got wind on their backs as well, going there, and they're going to have it in the face coming back.
Well, I think they're going to fly in any direction.
You can see they're so fluid, the pedaling style is so fluid. I mean, you can see they're professionals.
Getting a little drink there. What do you think about a prologue? Do you need to eat, drink in a race like
that? No,
they
won't be eating anything. I mean, you'd have a gel maybe before. The gels are probably good for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. You put a very light drink, not even Isoton, just maybe water. These riders can ride 8 hours. I mean, maybe just a bit of a sip of water. Maybe even not a full bottle. They'd have half a bottle.
Not to be too heavy, you say?
Yeah, I mean, everything counts with them, doesn't it?
Well, actually, I've heard that when you have bottles on your bike, it makes it a little more aerodynamic.
Really?
Well, it makes it a little more full shape.
You know, there were stories in the 50s on the road scene where Coppi and his fellow riders used to take water bottles on the top of the mountains full of lead weights to make them heavier so they go faster down.
Wow. Did it help?
I would imagine it must have. I mean, I know I'm a bit heavier now than I used to be, and I go faster down hills without trying.
That's an interesting tactic, and then throw it down, I guess. Throw it when they get down.
Yeah.
Here we can see some of Bara products. Bara is a sponsor here at this Bara Epic Israel.
Yeah, that's for the air conditioning Tornado.
Well, luckily it's not too hot today.
And we've got the avocado, which is grown here all around us. It's actually season at the moment. Avocados are in season, and they're best eaten in season.
Absolutely. Avocados here in season can be very, very tasty.
You can see him going past. This is the police station on the left. I only know that because I had a problem. I wasn't taken there.
Well, I hope they don't get a speeding ticket, because they are flying here. get some beautiful views of this wall, the same wall that stopped Napoleon from
Yes, you can see all the
conquering it.
ramparts and all the turrets where they put the cannons.
And I actually can't wait to see who will take today's stage, because we'll start to understand who's in form and who's not. Riders here are coming after a long season, tough 2 years with all the COVID situation. It will be very interesting to see who's on form, who's not, and who's up to race strong this year. As now we can see the Spanish duo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're catching or being caught.
Let's see who's the second then.
Some Israeli riders looks like
Number 10. Let's have a quick check.
we'll just have to look in the start times to understand who started first.
Oh, and here we go inside the city. Let's see the speed.
They're just flying. Actually, number 10, Lahav Davidson and Elon Cohen, they started before the Spanish.
So the Spanish have caught them.
A minute, they caught a minute.
Caught a minute already.
Yeah, so they're going pretty good.
Here we go.
So Manuel Corredo Morgado and Victor Fernandez Grande have caught Lahav Davidson and Elon Cohen.
They're just powering up, not even being...
And actually these two are marathon riders, so
there we go.
it's not the best for them.
They've obviously know what's coming up.
So they're up for the cyclocross. I wonder, maybe they watched the live stream and they could see the recon. It's like a recon of the race.
Yep, it's just quicker. They've obviously decided beforehand, and that's quicker.
Because that's the advantage of these riders. They could see the race, they could see the course on a day like today and understand what they expect. Maybe
it's a decision you make together. They both knew they were going to do that.
It is a decision, and it is an advantage that they may have known what they're expecting.
That's why you don't waste any time. There's no time wasted.
They're just flying here.
They also would have put the gearing ready to get back on the bike in the correct gear beforehand.
Well, everything is thought through. See more riders getting up the wall.
It's a hardtail bike. Did you notice?
Yeah,
one of the only hardtails on the race course today, probably.
So it's a 4:15 here.
And you can see the sun starts to go down, the shadows are getting longer. Because Israel's quite low down on the globe, the evening is a lot shorter.
Absolutely, and the days are getting shorter. Now, here we can see the Germans flying up these walls. They're going so fast. Tucked on their seat, climbing up. That's a great ride from them. So it is the weather is pleasant. I think it's even cooler for the riders now, even nicer. They're riding with their shorts. The wind still blows.
The wind generally blows harder as the day goes along here.
But maybe a little harder, but there are
they're not going to feel it though.
We've already had all of the riders leave here, the race village. Not many riders are still planned on staying. Did they just pass them, the Germans?
No, I think that was the Israelis and the Team Isgar boys.
Because the Germans just got on the wall.
Here they come, look, they're coming up now on the wall on the left. You can just see them, I think they're coming on the left.
Yeah, these are the Germans, and you can see the e-bike behind them.
Yeah,
I think
so they're catching, they've caught, so they're 30 seconds into their group.
So the Austrians.
The Austrians, maybe.
That is a very big thing here, so soon in the race. It is a statement, one can say. If they'll catch them, it could be a big statement to show we're the bosses here.
I mean, it's easier for them, I think, to put time in now because they don't have to break away from them tomorrow. Because tomorrow you could just sit on, they maybe sit on them, and it's a lot harder to get away from somebody.
It is harder.
So maybe the 30 seconds is worthwhile making the effort now.
Could be worth it, and they can see them.
Because everybody is in the wind. No one's resting here.
Absolutely, nobody is resting, and tomorrow they can rest.
And we can see the marina, the pleasure boat marina of Akko, and the walled city around.
And as you said, it is harder to get away from riders, but sometimes it's hard to be in the yellow jersey because everyone looks at you, everyone tries to get away.
I think everybody knows who the best riders here are anyway.
Well, they do know, but there are some other strong contenders here, such as the Austrians, the Czech riders, and the Spanish riders. They're all very strong. And I think we're out for commercials. And we are back. We are here.
You can see the walled city and Haifa in the distance there with the Carmel hills in the back.
The city of Haifa is not so far.
No, it's the Haifa Bay. This is called the Haifa Bay. There's lovely surf here actually. A lot of the surfers enjoy themselves on the beaches here. You can see the old city. This is, you're seeing the level, which is the Ottoman level. And you can see mosques and churches. I don't know if is there a synagogue in the old city?
Actually, I don't know. It's a good question.
There may be.
But you can see the newer part of the city.
Right.
As you said, there are newer and older parts of the city, as we can see here, number 54. This is Arad Zeisler and Uri Sulovic, excuse me. On their way back, they'll be here in a very, very short time. Here we can see again, it looks like Yuval Tzachor and Oded Kugut from the Israel Startup Nation. We get some more overall results. Omer Shapira and Shlomi Chaimi are no longer the leaders.
Jonathan Baon.
And Aviv Dahan, 36 minutes and 40 seconds. And I think it's going to get way faster.
Oh, hang on, what's going on?
Looks like he has to wait for his partner.
Yes, he's a bit of... Oh, I think he's overcooked him. You can see him breathing heavily here. He's not enjoying himself, that's for sure.
No, he looks like he went over his edge.
Something's going on. That's not...
That's the thing that can happen if one rider goes over his edge, goes over his limit.
That's right.
There's no way back from that.
We don't know if he's feeling okay today. He started, he might feel a bit poorly, but he just started because, you know, for commitment. But maybe it's cooked him.
No, it's all a possibility. Maybe feel.
You never know. I mean, you start, you never know what you got in your legs until it comes out.
Absolutely. This is part of the prepping for the race. You prep and you do it for the whole year. But in the end, you can have a bad leg day.
That's right. We saw Guy Yaniv and his partner just come across.
We didn't see them for a long time, but they are going past more and more riders.
This
looks like they're going well.
Yes, they're eating up the track. Now his younger partner's taking the wind again for him.
And they're quickly in and out of the puddle.
Oh, have we got some puncher for a rider.
It's interesting to see one rider fixing the puncher and the other one just looking at it.
I'd say he's being left alone to fix it. That's what I'd say. It didn't like he was getting much sympathy there.
No, it didn't seem like there was too much sympathy. Or he's a good mechanic and he does it all on his own.
Maybe his tyre choice wasn't to the other one's liking.
Could have been, and it's probably that puddle that got that puncture.
Here they goes Guy. Yeah, look at this. This is Guy. You know, you can spot Guy from a mile away. He puts his elbows out. He leans down with his back. Gets aero. He's a small rider, but he grew up as a mountain bike, a cross-country mountain bike rider, and he can do intervals all day long. I can remember watching him as a 15-year-old doing intervals until he was sick on training rides.
Well, that's how you get strong, didn't you?
I mean, he is the pure professional. He loves his job.
Well, that's great. That's a hard job that he got there, and could be very, very demanding.
But that was his dream job. He always, as a teenager, he wanted to be a pro rider. And if you remember, then there wasn't an Israeli team for him to go into. So it's just amazing for him. I mean, there's no words to say how happy I am for him to get to that level. I mean, he's done 3 Grand Tours. He started the first year in Israel, but unfortunately he had a stomach issue and had to stop. But he's such an honest rider. Just look at him. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, he's riding very, very well here.
He's not even moving his body. His legs are doing the talking. That means he's not tired. He doesn't have to use his upper body.
He's in control.
Yes.
And that's important here to ride in control.
And he's such a quiet rider as well. No shouting, nothing's going to be going. It's just work.
And you can see he's doing most of the work right now.
Powering along. And again, he's not using that power meter at all. It's all by feel.
Well, and as you said, he did reach his goal to be a professional rider. Did the 3 big Grand Tours already.
Yep.
Rode with the best. Rode with rides with Chris Froome. Rode with Andre Greipel, who just retired. So he did meet the best riders, and he can learn more from them.
Learning from the best as well. I mean, look, his partner's struggling a little bit now. The pace is on, but again, he's got maybe 2 or 3 minutes to finish, so they can still contain that effort.
Absolutely, they're getting close to the bridge on the way back. Here we can see the partners even
now. Yeah, he's having a go, pulling.
Giving a change, can still give him a turn.
Yeah, they're going to catch another couple in front of them.
Well, all of the couples in front of them are not the UCI riders. So it's just good maybe for morale to see riders mark them up the road.
But what was the break between them? Was it 4 or 5 minutes maybe, wasn't it? Oh, we can see the Israeli.
It was 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, we can see now the other Israeli team, they're carrying on, they're doing it. But I mean, these two have gone to work.
They have come to work, they have come to the office, and it's a good day for them. Looks like a good day. We'll have to wait for the results to see how well they did. But it looks like they're working well together. I think now this is the Spanish or the German duo. It's hard to see from here. Another strong duo here. Now they can see the bridge. They know they are close.
I mean, I think they'd take it up a level now. They nearly have got maybe 2 minutes, a 2-minute effort now. So I think they'll lift their level to the maximum. They won't do too much damage in their legs for the next day.
Well, they started only 30 minutes ago, so they are very, very close as well. And they look so calm and collective. It's amazing. It looks like they're not making an effort. Look at them. It's like the poker face is on. The first rider's Nadav Reisberg's body is a little moving now, but Guy looks like he's not. He's in an easy ride.
This is the second Israeli couple. I think Yuval here is recovered a little bit, but he does. You can see by his shoulders. The shoulders are dropped. He is suffering there.
He's having a hard day today. Maybe he'll come back tomorrow stronger.
You never know. I mean, you get up the next day, you feel a lot better. And I mean, everybody's got to start tomorrow, and everybody's going to finish today, and they're going to have something in their legs.
And you get some more results for the overall. Second now are Mustafa Ragev and Muhammad Yahas. First are still Jonathan Baron and Aviv Dahan. And third are Guy Kaftori and Rotem Levinson. Only 1.5 minutes behind. Rotem actually had a daughter not so far ago. So he's now a new father and riding the Epic. So that's very impressive from him. We can see Guy Niv and Nadav Reisberg are racing back here to the village. They're on the bridge.
We haven't seen the Austrians for a bit now. The Czechs.
No, we haven't. Maybe we'll get some images for the Germans. Maybe they're close to them now.
Oh, they're certainly focused there. Look at this, is fast. Whoa.
So it's 32 minutes from their start. I wonder what will be their time. We'll look here at the clock. Absolutely close. I think these are the Germans.
These are Germans. I think the electric bikers, maybe the battery's ended.
Oh, no, maybe it's not the Germans if there's no electric bike on the back.
Wow. Look, that's race face.
Race face, and Nadav is on his wheel. You can see they're going fast. You can see all the terrain moving fast near them. They're just going fast through all those corners. The guy looks very, very focused, trying to bring the hammer down for as long as possible. They get here as fast as possible, maybe get that white jersey or even the yellow jersey today, who knows?
Yes, actually it could be a technique to get in, to win the first stage and then maybe try and hang on tomorrow and the next days. I mean,
well, getting the yellow jersey for every day is great honor, and maybe they'll manage to do it today. I think all of the Israelis riders here will be crossed, all the Israeli spectators will cross their fingers for them to get that win today. Here we can see again Yuval Tzachor.
Yes, Yuval, look, and Yuval is having a little drink, and I think there'll be some questions being asked later in a couple of minutes' time. Here we come, here we come.
And Guy Niv and Nadav Reisberg just finished.
Wow.
It's 33 minutes and less than 30 seconds. You can't see it on the screen now, but they finished in 33 minutes. Here they are. Now you can see them. That's an amazing time. That's fast.
Now, luckily, Ori, I asked for Guy to come over after the race to talk to us.
So no excuses
so he
now.
Can't, no, that's exactly. So he has to come over.
Looks like you chose the right.
I'm just going to go there and
here you can see the results.
tell him to come over before
minutes.
he escapes. Okay, 33.
Fast.
I'm going to tell him.
Great, so we'll see you soon. So the next riders to come here will probably be Yuval Tzachor and Oded Kugut that we can see on our screen. They started after them. You can see Oded Kugut is slightly stronger today. He's still pulling a little thing over there. A little no tumble for them, luckily. After them, we're expecting to see Eliad Daniel and Gili Gonen that finished third. Started third in the Elite UCI, excuse me. Then we may see Lahav Davidson and Elon Cohen. And then Manuel and Victor, the Spanish riders, they started fifth, but they actually caught many Israeli riders, so maybe we'll see them sooner than we expect. Here we can see again Oded and Yuval are up the climb. Oded is still in the front. They'll be here soon.
You can see the difference though. Yuval is obviously suffering here. Something's not quite right. The body isn't doing what it's supposed to do.
Well, the suffering is about to be over very, very soon.
And then inquest starts. Inquest. It's a good English word. Chakira. Oh, this looks painful. Oh.
It does look painful, and
we are. It's always hard to watch a rider suffering.
It is hard to watch a rider on a bad day. In a race like this, he's probably prepared for a long time. He's been training for the whole season. We're just over 3 hours from the first start of the day, and the last men are about to get here. We're about to get Guy Niv to talk with us very soon.
I think the TV is trying to get him before us, but we're going to have a fight over him, I think.
Channel 5 just stole him before us. So we'll get to talk to him a little later.
Yeah. He's going to do it in Hebrew first and then English. Okay, we're just going to wait for Guy if he's going to do the TV in Hebrew. And he's going to come over and give us a few words about how it was out there. He is sweaty and he is completely wet like a fish out of the sea, I think. But he's quite happy.
Well, there are some fishermen in Acre.
There are actually.
But he was too fast for these guys.
No one caught him.
No.
Actually, the Germans might not have caught him either.
Well, let's see.
Let's see.
Let's see how fast the Germans will go. We didn't see them for a long time, but they were flying when we last saw them. We can see now more and more riders. Oh, that's a big pack of riders. You can see an e-bike there, then it means that there are some
here we come.
leading riders.
Just come over, the second Israeli couple.
On the bottom left of your TV screen, you can see a Guy Niv. It's like a little peloton coming in.
Yes,
I think these are the Austrians, and it may be the Germans on their wheel.
And we got the commissioner behind us. He's having a look at this. He says it's okay. He told us it's okay.
Well, if he says it's okay, then it's okay.
It's okay, he says.
They got the okay. Now, this is a very interesting situation because they all got caught. Here we still have Guy Niv and
2 minutes Gonen.
They're the best Israeli riders by far so far.
It's going to change now. Let's see what's going to happen here.
I think they'll still stay the best Israeli riders.
You can see these two riders are pushing big gears.
Yeah, so the Germans, it seems like they've caught the Austrians, yes. So they've closed a minute, and the Austrians are just staying on their wheel because they don't want a bigger gap than a minute to open. Right. But a minute is a very, very big gap.
And have you seen the Czech riders out? I didn't notice the Czech riders. The Spanish are just coming over.
The Spanish just came over 3 hours and 3 minutes after the start.
I haven't seen the Czech riders.
The Spanish riders seem to have ridden slower than the Israeli. It looks like 34 minutes for them. Yeah. So Guy Niv and Nadav Eisberg seem to be still in the lead.
Looking good.
So that's good for them.
Yes.
And the Germans are up the front. It's Lukas Baum and George Egger.
And they've only got 2 left on their tails.
Now we have Guy Neve here.
We got Guy Neve.
Guy Neve, you just had a great ride. You're still in front. You're in front of the Spanish riders who just come
40
in.
seconds at the moment, and we just Guy's going to watch with us the end here on the video, and we're going to see where he finishes.
We saw that the German riders caught the Austrians.
And I'm going to pass my headphones over to Guy so he can hear.
So Guy, it looks like you had a very, very good race out there. How was it today?
It was really tough. I will need a few days to get used to this intensity. Luckily, only the first day is similar to cross-country intensity. I don't know what's the times now, but let's see. Maybe someone beat our times now.
We'll see in a moment. It looks like, unfortunately, the Germans...
Now, he's going to wait a few seconds to get the final timing.
But I think the Germans got 32 minutes. The Austrians around 33, so it's going to be tight between you and the Austrians. But you may get the second or third place today. So congratulations. And that's a third place by 12 seconds. So great ride for you guys.
Honestly, I'm really surprised, and I'm actually quite happy now that I see the times. We made some mistakes, so it could have been even better. But yeah, it's a really solid start for us, and we can be happy with it.
So what are your thoughts now with these results? Do you think you can contest for the win of this race?
Let's see. I don't know. Mountain bike is really different from the road, and I'm actually didn't race for the last month. My last race was the Vuelta, so I have no idea what to expect from myself, but we will give our best and we will try to enjoy it.
But Guy, the first bike you had was a mountain bike.
Yeah, that's where I grew up, that's where I came from, so it's really nice and enjoyable to be here in the biggest mountain bike event in Israel. I'm happy to be here. I think I still remember how to ride my mountain bike, but with every day that will pass, I will be better and better.
And tell me one more question, Guy, before you go and recover. Your mother and father over there, how much is their support important to you?
Oh, it's amazing. My mom and dad are with me from my very first day on my bike. They are there for me for the whole way. They've been with me in some of the Grand Tours that I did, and they have been with me in all the races that I've done in Israel. So for them, it's normal to come see me and race, and now it's near to their home, near to where I grew up. It's really nice to have them here.
So Guy, thanks a lot. Go and recover and get ready for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was great hearing from Guy Neve. A great ride from him, finishing third today. Wow, that's amazing. We can see today's winner, George Egger and Lukas Baum. A great ride from them, catching the Austrians, doing this 18-kilometer course in 32 minutes and 11 seconds, opening over a minute, just over a minute on their Austrian competitors, Karl Markt and Gregor Ragel. So you see, Maximilian Brandl may not be there, but George Egger is still flying, and he's got a very strong partner. Third place, even Guy Neve was surprised. Reisberg, Nadav, and him. We see the Spanish are even behind them, 1 minute and 53.
What we can see is we can see a varied leaderboard here. I mean, it's not all the Europeans in the front and the Israelis behind. It's all mixed up. It's going to be exciting. And there's only 2 minutes between the top four couples here.
Well, it's great to see the Israeli flag up here. It was a great race.
See if we can get the Austrians to come and say a word in English.
Or the Germans.
The Germans. Let's go and get one of the Germans. The TVs can only have one German. We'll have the other one. Let's try.
So we're just about to have Lukas Baum, the winner of today's stage. He's just about to join us. Now you can see on TV, George, we have Lukas. So Lukas, how was today's race? It looks like you went really, really well.
Yeah, it was beautiful. For me, it was a special occasion because it was the first mountain bike race I did within 3 years. Actually, working right now at George. George is the reason why I'm stepping into the mountain bike again. I found the love again for the mountain bike. And here we are, first race, first win. I like it.
So are you happy now?
I'm super happy. It's the first time racing here in Israel. I've been here before with my girlfriend just for vacation in Tel Aviv. I really liked it here, but actually racing is just as much fun.
So what are your thoughts for the next stages of the race?
Right now we're in a comfortable position for the next stages. It was our goal to get the leaders jersey, so the others are under pressure and they have to do a move. So we can just sit back, relax, and maybe go on attack and extend our lead.
So now you feel like you're in the power position and you can just look at the other riders.
Exactly, yeah. I think right now we proved that we are the strongest team here, and yeah, just gained a lot of confidence today, and now it's up to the other teams.
How was your preparation for this race? Because it looks like you came in pretty strong form.
George did the whole mountain bike World Cup season, and I actually started training I think in the end of February this year.
Wow.
Again. I've been away from cycling at all. I needed a break, and yeah, I prepared basically the whole year. I did 2 road races before, and I won both. So I did a quick stint in the road race season, and now we are full gas on the last races in the season on mountain bike.
Great. And how are you planning on recovering for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, well, get the carbohydrates back in the muscles, put the feet up, and relax the whole evening. Not too much walking around, and yeah, just relax.
Well, thank you very much. Go and have a nice recovery.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we just heard from Lucas Baum, the winner of today's stage. A great ride from him. A great win for these 2 riders. You can see them just catching the Austrians, their competitors, by a whole minute. That was a great ride from them. Hello, Jan. How was today's race?
Yeah, it was good. A little bit flat and a little bit windy for us, but it was nice.
So you're waiting for the climbs in the next days?
Yeah, I hope it will be a little bit different than today. I knew the prologue from 2 years ago, and I think today it was a little bit more attractive because there were less farm roads and more attractive ride through the city. So I liked it.
Were you surprised to get into buildings and climbing stairs like that?
Yeah, but it was not so much time to look in the museum and around.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Well, that was a nice ride from you today. And what's the plan for the next stages?
We will try to ride behind the stronger teams because the German and Austrian guys are very strong. So we hope we will be able to stay with them as long as it will be possible.
Very good.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we heard from some of the finishers. Looks like the Germans are the strong duos here, and everybody is going to look up to them, and they showed it today. They've been preparing for the whole year. Lucas may have not rode up till now, but he's been training since February. He won the only 2 races he did when he prepared to this race. George is obviously a very strong rider, preparing in the World Cups. As we said, finishing 30th in the World Championships in cross country. And they caught their competitors. They closed a full 1 minute gap to win today's stage. That's amazing.
I mean, there's no hiding. There was no hiding today for the couples. Tomorrow maybe you could hide. You can stay on the back of someone's wheel and maybe fake it a bit. But today there was no faking. We saw who was the strongest. Everybody knows that now. Tomorrow they're going to be all looking at the Germans.
Well, the time trial is the test of truth. And now we can see what happened today with Angelo Di Veroli and Chaim Dahan.
They were the first riders out at 1:30 this afternoon.
Yes, and you saw they flew.
And they got the helicopter treatment there.
They got the helicopter treatment, but it didn't slow them down. They went on and had a very, very strong ride. Angelo doing most of the leading and leading them to a victory and the Masters category.
That's right. I think all of the categories are competitive on there. They're all close. They all have 3 or 4 teams together, very close, and it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be fascinating to see what will happen the next days of the race here. We had a great race in the Grandmasters category. They're all close. The mixed category has the 2 duos very close as well. We had a beautiful ride today. We went up onto the walls of Acre. up onto the walls that Napoleon didn't manage to go onto. Here we can see some more strong riders up these walls.
Well, I think Aker did a fabulous job closing down, giving access to our cycling race here. I mean, it's not a normal here to get that kind of access.
It's amazing access. It's places that riders didn't dream of riding in, I believe, didn't imagine of riding in, and they went there. And it doesn't happen in any other race in Israel. It's just, that's what's so special about the race. And Gal was really happy. He knew that they're in another level, and they are in another level. It's an amazing race here. It's been a great day, a great prologue, a great start for the race. I think we're going to have another great weekend of racing here at the Bara Epic Israel.
Well, I think Gal has raised his game again. I mean, from previous years, it's pretty hard to see how he could, but he has. And it's a team that's dynamic. They're always thinking how to improve. And it's going to be a great future for this race, I think. I mean, we've come back 2 years, we haven't had it. Some people thought maybe there wasn't the money because with Corona, a lot of businesses have lost money, people have lost a lot of money, their jobs. But people are back and there's that hunger to race.
And now we can see Charlie marked on the Israeli TV. We may get his companion and compatriot Gregor Ragel in a moment.
Well, Gregor's eating a banana at the moment.
Well, we'll let him recover and he'll come to hear his thoughts of today's race. Charlie looks pretty smiley now, even though they had a tough day. They know that it doesn't end here. They know that there are still 3 more days of racing, over 200 kilometers of racing still left, 250 kilometers even.
I mean, it's nothing, is it? One mistake, a rider might fall, a rider might drop his chain. You get that break and then they'll be off. The race will be on.
Well, they both proved that they had a very good marathon. That they're very good marathon racers, and the next days are going to be marathon races. And we're just about to hear from Gregor Ragel.
It's in English.
I can.
So Gregor, how are you doing? How was today's race?
Yeah, it was hard like every year. It's every year the same, I guess. It's all out for half an hour, a little bit more, and it's just the beginning. So we have 3 more days. I guess we are doing well, a little bit more well at the longer stages. But the German couples is strong again, like the years before. But we will continue to fight, and let's see what the next 3 days are bringing.
Gregory, every other pro rider here is full of sweat. They are wet. You're dry. How is it? You weren't making the proper effort, or that's how you are?
No, I was sweating as well. So, but maybe you just can't see it at me. But no, we are also a little bit used to those temperatures. We have been the last 3 weeks in Italy, so it was actually the same with 30 plus, and so we are maybe a little bit used to it.
So you both came from the World Marathon Championships, and you both did very well. How do you feel for the next stages? Are you waiting to have the long marathon races?
Yeah, as I already said, we are maybe a little bit tired from the race on Saturday. It was quite long, with more than 6 hours, and with on Sunday we traveled on, and on Monday we had the flight, so maybe we are a little bit tired, but it's the next 3 days will be hard, and there are longer stages as well. So we are going full gas like every year, and let's see what it.
Yeah, today is an opportunity to open your legs, get that dust off from the flight. Tomorrow's a different style of racing. It's longer, not so high pressure. Do you think that suits you more?
Yeah, I think this one suits us a little bit more than the shorter ones. But as I already said, we don't know the tracks for the next days, but we are good prepared, and the bikes are well, and hopefully the legs too.
Well, so good luck in the next days. Have a nice recovery.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
So we just heard from Gregor Ragel, part of the Austrian duo, finishing second today after the German duo. Great ride from them. And they're just going to take it day by day.
I mean, he just looks as fresh as he did on the start line, to be honest. I don't know how he does it.
Maybe he's keeping his legs for tomorrow.
So when are we starting tomorrow, Ori?
Pretty sure we're on commercial.
סדרת השמנת של פיצת, שמנת קווין ופטריות, שמנת רוזה ושמנת טרף. פיצת. ג'ינסים מ-149 שקלים. לי קופר, made to be different.
לקחת את האימון לאקסטרים. קורקומין אקסטרים. קורקומין ליפוזומלי בשילוב Q10 פטנטי. bara צמחים.
Tomorrow we'll be on air from 7:30 for the first stage of this Bara Epic Israel.
And what is the stage? Well, we can't tell the riders because they don't know, do they? They
No,
just
we
know the
can't tell
distance.
anyone. Well, they know the distance, and that's all they're going to know.
I know what's waiting for them.
And that's going to be a good stage that's waiting for them.
And then tomorrow is going to be a mass start stage where the top riders are. Here we go. Here's the graph.
It's going to be 980 meters of climbing accumulated throughout the stage. Just over 70 kilometers. Not too long. And as you said, it is going to be a mass start. All the riders are going to start together, but the starting boxes are determined by their finishing time. By the finishing times today.
So that was really the point of today, to organize the riders for tomorrow. So there isn't a big fight on who is first on the line. The pro riders, the good riders can go off, clear field. They can go off and not be not have anybody in front of them that maybe shouldn't be there.
Absolutely, it will make the race a little more organized. You don't want an amateur rider in between all the professional riders. It can interfere the racing. The professional riders don't need to worry. They know that their place at the start line is secured.
That's right. Often tomorrow we'll see in the start, quite often amateur riders will try and keep up with the pace of the pro riders because they're riding with them, and they'll feel good, but they'll pay for it. And it all depends how long it takes for them to realize that they shouldn't be riding at that pace, and they've still got another 60 k's to go. And then you'll see that little coin drop, and then they'll come off the peloton.
Well, that is a dangerous thing for the amateur riders to try and ride with these professionals, because they're professionals, and as we saw today, they can just fly, and they're riding on a different level. They're very, very strong. They're going to go pretty quickly tomorrow. I believe it's going to be less than 3 hours probably. These 70 kilometers, not too much climbing, and I think we're up for a very good race. The Germans are up the front. The pressure is on all the other riders. Gaini Venadav Reisberg, Gregor Ragel and Charlie Markt are also on the podium and maybe try to improve their position tomorrow.
I think tomorrow we're going to see a conservative race up to the singles. They hit the singles, and I think we're going to see fireworks. I think people are going to try and make differences in the singles on the uphills, and on the way back we're going to see them try and keep that distance between themselves. It's going to be a fight really not to close the gaps.
Actually, I believe we'll absolutely see that, and I believe the Germans will stay up front and have another strong ride, probably put the hammer down when they feel like they're confident, probably in the single tracks, in the climbs, where they feel like they can make the difference. And as we saw, they can ride very, very well together. So they'll try to keep it as big a gap as possible to be calmer and calmer for the next stages.
I also think that if anybody tries to go off the front, they're going to be looking at the Germans to close the gaps. I mean, that's their responsibility, isn't it?
It's absolutely their responsibility, because the other riders are not there to help them. They just want to pass them. So, for instance, if other duos try to work together to put the Germans down, maybe the Israelis will attack and the Austrians will sit, and then they will attack.
That's right. I mean, they'll do the double on them.
Could be some interesting tactics tomorrow.
Tomorrow, wrap it up.